Hey, what's going on, guys? Xbox All in channel, host Sega Forever here. Just wanted to do a quick video. I meant to do this last week, just didn't have the time. Just been really busy, guys. One of the great things I got to do is play Redfall, though, and I won't talk too much about that in the video. I'll do a separate one, give you guys my thoughts on the game. I've actually played it quite a bit. I'm actually on the second part of the game, the second stage. When you finish the first map, there's a second map that you got to do. Spent a lot of time on the game, learning the ins and outs. Very positive, if I'm being honest. Um, a lot of the hate that the game is getting, it's unfortunate because if people just gave the game a chance, I think a lot more people, not everybody would like it, but a lot more people would like it, at least more than the hate that it's getting. And that's one of the things that upset me about it. But again, I'm not going to talk about that, as you guys can see from the title. I want to talk about Phil Spencer. A hat tip to the Xbox community out there, those guys on Twitter, the guys on social media holding it down. I'm not gonna lie, man. I'm pretty proud to be an Xbox guy right now because over the last couple months, man, I thought we basically stood alone, at least a small circle of us. And from what I've been seeing on social media, you know the involvement of the Xbox community, and I'm talking the true Xbox guys, the true Xbox fan, not any of these people that bought an Xbox because it's cool, bought an Xbox just to play Game Pass, which is fine. I'm not going to hate on you for that. But I mean, I'm talking about the dudes who actually bleed green. Shout out to the Xbox community. Of course, the usual suspects. Again, I'll apologize for all the noise, um, the residual noise that you hear in the background. Guys, do apologize for that. But there's only so much I can do. And I really wanted to get this video out. But yeah, the usual suspects, man. Hat tip to my boy Hebot, dude. He did an excellent video that I watched. He did it yesterday, I believe, where he was where we pretty much broke down a lot of the hypocrisy and stuff like that that goes on in the gaming community, specifically when it comes to Xbox to PlayStation. If you haven't checked out his video, please do so. Hat tip to Unlimited Productions, man. He's been doing like some really fire podcasts, and the last one that he had is epic. Definitely go check him out. And then, of course, last but not least, um, hat tip to my boy Sega Man. He's been doing the Lord's work when it comes to this Xbox community. He's been putting out a number of videos, and in fact, it's probably one of the reasons. It's one of the reasons why I'm doing this one. You kind of inspired me to make some time and actually do this video because there's some specific things I want to talk about. And since these guys have been doing videos, man, I highly recommend you guys check it out. I won't cover every single aspect of the interview that Phil Spencer did on kind of funny games. I just give you guys my perspective, a couple of the things that stood out to me specifically. Um, but everything that's been said across the board, whether it's Exile guys, all of us Xbox guys that run YouTube channels, to just the people on social media like Twitter, Facebook, man, guys like New Legal, of course Hunter with his channel and the stuff he posts, Mr. Kima. I don't want to forget some of you guys because it's just been inundated, man. Just some people that I picked up following, just from the simple fact of the way they've been representing the community, man. Just people I never heard of. Dude. And then when I look at other people's posts, man, there's some stuff that we might not agree on other aspects, whether it's pop culture or politics, any of that kind of stuff, man. But if you bleed green, dude, I put all that stuff on the side, man. That's the way I am, dude, because the Xbox brand is under assault. Um, and I know people are gonna say, well, you're nothing but an Xbox, it's, corporate slave, all that stuff, whatever. Dude, if that's what you gotta tell yourself to make yourself feel better. I know who I am. I know what I believe. I know why I rock out with Xbox. This is one of the reasons why I'm still Xbox all in, Xbox strong, because I don't flip flop, man. Because I know what I like, dude. I know what I believe. I didn't buy an Xbox for the reasons that other people buy it, dude. I actually like the system. I like the service. I had no problem with Xbox One in 2013. I was actually looking forward to it. I've said this on the channel. I reiterate it again, dude. The way Xbox One is in 2013, I was all on board for that. I wanted the all-in-one console. Right? This is why the channel's all-in channel, right? It speaks to Xbox all-in. Xbox being the corporate juggernaut that it is, man. Doing the music, doing the movies, doing everything that other companies are doing right now. And Microsoft spearheaded that, right? And it got a lot of hate for it. And because of that hate, dude, in both the media and fanboys, right? And then then Microsoft found out that their fan base really wasn't their fan base, which is something the Sony guys will find out really quick once this AKB deal goes through, right? On the extremes of it, where people like support a brand like me and then on the Sony side that you have your brand gamers over there, right? At least on the Xbox side, there are more gamers on this side, right? And this is why Xbox continues to defy expectations. Hey, what's up, Vodka? Some people seem confused. That interview was set up for the ABK, not the popular Redfall game that is having success. Yeah, yeah, 100%. I'm gonna show you, Vodka. Yeah, yeah, that ABK deal, man. They was running rampant when the CMA did what they did, which threw everybody off. Even the powers that be, man. People in the know, people in the industry were totally surprised by that. Dude, and I'll wear my tinfoil hat on that, dude. I think they're just paying off that regulatory agency, man. Because if you look at it across the board, there's no reason for that deal not to go through. And the reason why they came up with it, right? Because I think on the console end they couldn't pull that off, so that's why they went to the cloud thing because it is so new, right? Because you can't really say, there's not any hard evidence or hard truth. So you could basically come out with the decision they did, even though people think it's stupid, right? But you can't really pursue that the way you can on the console side. There's a method to that madness, man. I mean, I know they're incompetent, but I honestly believe 100% they're on the take for Sony for whatever reason. I'm not even talking monetarily. They could just be fanboys in there. Because all before this deal kicked off, there's a dude that worked at the CMA who posted some fanboy stuff when it came to Sony and Xbox that people were like pointing to, and then the CMA said, no, we don't do that kind of stuff. We're professional here. And lo and behold, all the stuff that Microsoft did, everything they provided, the lack of communication, the way the decision was reached, all of that stuff was dirty from the jump. And that's one thing that I liked what Phil Spencer did in that kind of funny games, right? He touched on it briefly on the AKB deal, but kept it rolling, as professionally as possible. As any leader of a big brand like Xbox and a huge corporation like Microsoft, that the people that he has to answer to, and that's why Microsoft is handicapped. I know I'm one of the people out there that like to talk about Microsoft's flexing their ability, but they are restrained in that sense that they're $1 trillion company, and that there's the powers that be as far as the stocks and all that kind of stuff, right? That kind of, I don't want to say handicaps them, but it kind of, that's something that they have to consider. This is why I could never work there. Like I could never do this, man, because I was feeling all kind of stupid crap. I get fired. I just hope people stay cool about the EU leaks of the deal passing. Yeah, dude. Yeah, like I posted it up there just for a public service announcement, man. I mean, regardless of what happens with the EU, man, Microsoft is set on getting Activision Blizzard, right? And I'm leaning that way. Besides the simple fact that they have every right to do that, right? You can't penalize people for being rich. That's not the way government agencies are supposed to work. Regulators are supposed to work. Right? And they're supposed to these regulators are supposed to be in the best interest of the consumer and the economies of their respective countries. Like the FTC and stuff like that. That's what they're supposed to be doing. The regulators, right? The unfortunate thing about regulators nowadays is that's regulating in a negative sense, like to be counterproductive. Right? They stop a lot of these deals for no really good reasons. And that's why I'm a type of person, dude. I don't like the government overreach that you're seeing um, in this present day, right? Because there's really no way that they can determine. They shouldn't be doing that. The CMA should not be determining winners and losers. I understand that the UK, the EU, all of that, we're all different um, governmental agencies and stuff like that. But on their core, right, if you're supposed to be looking out for the consumer, right, you should be as open-ended as possible, right, and see how it affects everybody. And definitely check your bias, which nobody's doing. Yeah, so I did post that as well, just to give people a heads up because it is happening soon, and hopefully it does, because I would like to see Microsoft just continue, right? Regardless of what is said, which I'm pretty positive on, dude. I'm not gonna lie, I'm pretty positive with that. CMA might be itchy from all that money Apple cheated. Yeah, dude. A lot of people don't think about it that way, Vodka. Good, good post, bro. A lot of people don't realize like how much of this stuff goes on. We just focus on the video game aspect of it, man. But there's big money, big corporations, all of that stuff, big government. It's crazy when you look into it. I've been touching on it a little bit. I keep up with government stuff anyway. It's interesting to me. Politics is interesting to me, and I have my own feelings on that kind of stuff. Um, but you're right, dude, 100%. It's amazing like how things can change like that, right? So like who's to say the FTC, man, because of the way Congress is right now and some of the questions that were brought up when Lena Khan was being interviewed, man, it sounded like those guys could go after Sony because of the stuff that Sony's doing. Definitely hold Japan closer to the feet to the fire a little bit more. Right? You see how fast Japan approved the deal, which rightfully so because Microsoft doesn't have that big a footprint in the country anyway. So it is what it is. But as for me and Phil Spencer, man, in that interview, dude, I couldn't believe some of the reactions I was seeing from people talking about the interview. I felt like I was watching a whole nother interview. Like I can understand if you hate Microsoft and you hate Phil Spencer, the comments like that. I totally 100% understand that, dude, because a lot of these people just hate Microsoft. They want them to go away. They hate Xbox, but they want Xbox to die, and they'll just want Microsoft to go away, right? Because they are the big fish in this pond. So I can totally understand that on the Sony side. That does not surprise me at all. It surprises me more when like I saw a couple tweets from people that are Sony guys that was so outside of their outside of that norm on the Sony on what Sony says a lot of time, a lot of their fan base, the Sony Defense Force and the ponies. And these dudes like actually made like I saw two comments that made a lot of sense about when they were talking about the interview that Phil Spencer did. But the thing that surprised me the most was just the Xbox side and how everybody was losing their marbles. Right? It just reminded me again of how weak our side is. Right? That's why the circle of people that I actually listen to and hang with is very small. Right? I also like the fact that when I do these videos, dude, I don't have that huge a following. But at least the people that follow the videos, they're engaged and they're intelligent. Right? They know what's really going on. Like a lot of the times, I don't have to explain a lot of things to people. On the Xbox side, that's within our circle, right? Because they understand, they keep up with it. They realize the things that a lot of people outside, and especially in the gaming media, that should know, but they don't, or they don't care, or either their families. Any which one you pick, dude, it's bad, right? So it was nice to see Phil actually go out there and actually, you know, set the record straight on a lot of stuff. And I know he's being magnanimous again, right, Phil? Phil taking responsibility for what happened with Redfall. Like he touched on the AKB thing, kind of moved on for that. Then he went for the main thing, right, which was basically prosecuting himself to everybody because of the Redfall. Oh, sorry, dude. I got Phil Spencer stayed humble and know they were in third place. Yeah, yeah. And so let me touch on that really quickly. This is just my opinion on it. Like when he said we're not trying to out console Nintendo and Sony, right? So on the Xbox side of things, right? Because I know how the Pony guys are going to react. On the Xbox side of things, I was kind of surprised and shocked that people, I feel they didn't understand what he was talking about, which was kind of breathtaking to me because if you're on the Xbox side and you follow Xbox like you should, and if you've been keeping up with all this news like 2013, like some of these guys represent themselves to be, um, the fact that they read too much into that or didn't read enough into it, at least in the right way, of what Phil Spencer was saying. But Phil Spencer basically is like, we want you to play where you want, on what you want, anywhere you want, at any time, basically. Right? That's been his message since 2015. As time went on from 2015, you saw them come more into fruition as they created backwards compatibility and then they created Game Pass, right? And then they were doing, it's just not on PC, on Xbox consoles. You can do it on PC. They're talking about Samsung with the doing the apps and stuff like that. Playing on your phone, all of this kind of stuff, right? Which is showing them trying to increase their market share by increasing the market, right? And I'm talking about the video game markets, the industry as a whole, because there's nobody else doing that. Now, it could be fair to say that Microsoft had to do something, because as you said, Phil said they were in third place, right? But to me, as far as the console, none of that matters anymore, right? Like I was arguing with PlayStation 5 guys, and they're like, yeah, they're like the leader in the video game industry, right? And they like to use those words and stuff like that. And I'm like, by what metric are you guys the leaders? I really want to know. Is it in console sold? Because I don't believe them when they tell me they have 132 million PlayStation 4. So I just don't. Sorry. A lot of those, and I think a lot of those are just shit not sold, right? And one of the reasons I say that, dude, is number one, Sony lies, and their fan base lies. Unlimited was talking about that on his podcast, dude. He made a funny joke that I didn't think about. He was like, a couple years ago they were supposed to be having sold 500 million, and then I think sometime earlier this year they said that they sold 500 million consoles, right? And he made when he said that I was like, yeah, dude, that's true. I never thought about that way because they keep on moving the meter, man. Right? It's just like if you look on social media right now, the big thing that they like to promote is how many units are being sold of each game, which they normally don't do. Right? They normally don't do that because it doesn't look good. So I don't know where they're pulling these numbers from, right? But so supposedly, I guess, The Last of Us. No, no, is it The Last of Us? It's The Last of any one of their games. They're like it sold 32 million copies lifetime, right? Yeah, shipped during Blue Boxers games. I do 100%. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if Sony has a warehouse somewhere just holding on to this stuff, right? Just so they can fudge their numbers. Dude, the when I tell people that, dude, they think I'm nuts. I'm like, dude, you don't know the level of evil. When I was back in the day, and I was a Sony guy, man, especially on their electronic sides mostly. But dude, the level of evil that Sony will do because they don't look at it as evil, man. They look at that kind of stuff as business, right? Because they want to be number one, and they'll do it by any means necessary, dude. And I've been dealing with Sony since the '90s. So I know, I mean, the video game stuff aside, right? Like when they used to show like those bogus clips, right, and come up with the games they're supposed to take out Halo, or when they talk about Vaporware, a product that's not even coming out for at least a year and a half, a year, right? And they've always gotten the pass. They've gotten the pass. Hey, what's up, realist? I think Xbox is holding back though. Oh, what do you mean? Holding back from? Yeah, let me know, dude. What do you think they're holding back from? Yeah, so when Phil Spencer said that, dude. Yeah, that's another thing, dude. Last of Us had three versions and one sequel. What? Right? And so the thing that cracks me up about that, dude, is that's not an industry. That's not forging the future, man. When it comes in the gaming industry, and that's the thing that gets me about this, right? Is because if they're the industry leaders and rehashing games over and over again. Now, granted, if people buy it, right? If people continue to buy it, right, and it's working out for them, right? But then the numbers don't support that, dude. You know how many people play Minecraft? And I'm just talking about regularly on a regular basis, let alone the people who actually went and bought the game, right? Like franchises like that, dude. That is a big deal. What did it do? Hey, yeah, what's up, realist? Yeah, I'm just doing this quick little thing because I didn't get a chance to talk about the interview with Phil Spencer. I meant to do it last week, man. I just didn't have time. Production? You think they're holding back on production? What do you mean for later on in the year? Gearing up for when they have the big releases? Because they got Starfield coming out next month. Okay, the realist, you're right. MS is feigning weakness. Possibly, possibly they could be playing that long game. Honestly, I think they're playing every game. That's why when they were talking about when Phil said that, dude, when Phil said like it's the console, like we're not gonna on console them. Xbox and Microsoft is beyond console. They've said it for years, dude. They've been saying it for years, man. It's like nobody's been hearing them. Like console, the way Phil Spencer, console is limiting, right? That's why he says there's over 2 billion people that play on phones. There's all these people on PC. There's all these people on mobile. He's trying to reach people everywhere. This is why, again, when people start coming out, Xbox is dead, they're going to kill the console division. That makes absolutely no sense. Why would they kill the console division? They're trying to reach everybody, whether it's on console, on PC, on phone, on mobile. Dude, they're going to put apps on TVs. They're working a deal out with Samsung right now, which I think is awesome. I wish they would go a step further and actually work in South Korea as opposed to Japan. I have nothing against Japan, dude. I love the games there and stuff like that. But it's time to go for newer waters, man. It's time to lay your nets somewhere else. Minecraft Legends was the top Switch game sold in Japan. Yeah, yeah, dude, that's a popular game there. There's American products that do very well in Japan, dude. You just got to make something that they want to buy. You know, they stick with their own stuff because they like their own stuff, right? So what you got to do is you got to overcome that. You got to come up with something that they really like because if they like something, dude, they'll buy it. We've had such a big influence on their culture. I know Japan is still pretty hardcore with their stuff, man, but there's American stuff that they really do like. Dude, we supply their defense for their country, right? Microsoft just has to keep on plugging away, dude. But I just want to make that the focal point, and that's one of the things I love about Phil Spencer. You see people saying, "Well, Phil Spencer should be fired." Why? Why should he be fired? I mean, I know the majority, like 90% of that is what ponies. But again, like you're saying, Vaka, Minecraft Legends was the top Switch game sold in Japan, right? Because they're making something that people like, those guys like, and it's totally suited for Switch. Remakes are easy money from hardcore fans. Yeah, it is. I agree, realist man, but that's a problem too, right? Because this is why I love the AKB thing. This is why I like what happened with Redfall, right? Because it shines a light on the actual gaming industry and the actual gamers. Like you hear a lot of people talking about microtransaction, how they're pissed off about Starfield having microtransaction. It's all fake outrage. I understand. I'm not trying to say that there's credibility to that, but how people brought that out and there's actually people talking about it. But I'm like, there's microtransactions everywhere. Why shouldn't Starfield take advantage of it, dude? Because they want to make money just like everybody else, right? Now, in the way that they implement the microtransactions, you know, that can be looked at. For me personally, I don't have a problem with microtransactions because I'm not a slave to that stuff, dude. If you make a game that I like and then you put microtransactions in it and then it actually affects the gameplay or my enjoyment of the game, I'll walk away. I'll step off. Especially the way what gaming is now, dude. I don't have to like I'm not I'm not tuned into one single product that you're offering me. And that's the great thing again about Microsoft and what they're doing with Xbox. There's so much stuff that you could take from. It's literally a buffet. Like Sega Man says all the time, we eat good over here. And that's 100% real. Dude, if Redfall, if I didn't like Redfall, right? And this is me being totally honest, man. I'm not hating on Redfall. If Redfall was as bad, if I had a bad experience like other people have with Redfall, that I didn't want to play, I could just walk away. Dude, I have Nino Kuni 2 sitting in waiting, right? They just had the case of Benedict, what is his name? Benedict Fox. That released too, right? Then you have I have like a Dragon Ishin, right? I actually bought the physical copy. I'm trying to buy all the physical copies of Sega games, even the current ones, right? So I have that game basically loaded into my Xbox ready to play, right? On top of the stuff that I need to be playing before they leave so I can know if I like it or not, because I might buy them, right? I just purchased one of the games, what is it called? Dragon Age, the um, the Builders one, Dragon Age Builders 2. I actually bought that, not Dragon Age. Ah, dude, I'm old. But they had a sim version one that was leaving Game Pass, and what I basically did was I just went ahead and bought it because I enjoyed it so much. I haven't played it in a while, but that's something I wanted in my library. So if I would have been like some of the guys I see out there, some legitimate. I mean, I say very few legitimate. Most of it just hate and people bandwagon jumping around and stuff like that. But if it affected me that much, I just want to play it, right? And then you see people saying, "Well, that's what Game Pass is bringing on the quality." No, that's the great thing about Game Pass. You can play that game and not spend the money on it, and then you would have saved yourself $70. For me, it would have saved the money for me not buying it, right? So honestly, I don't buy any of the Microsoft games because they're already in Game Pass. Because the thing that people forget is that you are paying a monthly subscription, right? And they use that money to pay for all these things, right? So eventually, then I'll go ahead and buy it. Like I forgot what game did I buy? Did I buy Forza? But anyway, it's a consumer choice, right? I can do that if I want to, if I don't want to, right? That's the beauty of Game Pass. It gives you options. So again, if I didn't like Redfall, there's like 7 games on tap that I could play. I named a few of them a couple minutes ago, right? And there's just a plethora of games just sitting in that library that I could play, right? Some of them, some of them you might not like. I understand that. Maybe that's not your cup of tea, right? But the great thing about AKB and Redfall is showing that these people are full of crap because no matter what game it is, it's not their cup of tea, right? It's like, oh, okay, I don't like playing that kind of. I don't like playing that. They're just making excuses. Most of these dudes don't have Xbox and they don't have Game Pass. They'll buy it as many times every. Yeah, and that's kind of a problem, dude. I know in some instances when they do a full reworking of the game, add stuff into it, and look, it's your money. You buy what you want to buy, right? But don't come telling me like on social media. These guys will come telling me how crap this game is, right? When you're over here playing rehash games, your opinion means nothing to me. The Japanese and Korean Xbox fans need localization. Yeah, Vaka, yeah. Especially the Korean fans. See, and this is the stuff that you need to jump about. Like I'll jump on Xbox about. I did have a problem. Like one of the few problems I have with Xbox is probably it's basically nil with what they're doing. But the one of the main problems I had with Xbox was the storage space, right? And it's not for me personally, dude. I'm a hardcore gamer, a hardcore Xbox. I have no problem switching out games off and on. But the thing that bothers me for, like, if you want to be the Netflix of gaming, you got to make it for the lowest common denominator, making it as simplistic as possible, and making it easy as possible. Especially if you have a service like Netflix, where people will just want to just download the game really quickly, try it out, and just funnel through it. That's what Netflix was working on when they went digital and they figured it out, right? Now, Microsoft has done really well with Game Pass. The fact that you can download the games, right, so you don't have to worry about the streaming thing, right? Even though they offer the cloud stuff, which I don't use and I can't use. Um, but they built that up. That's that part. But that not that lack of memory, that lack of space. Yeah, that's a killer, dude. So I see that the prices are starting to go down because now they just try to shift to more competition, which I will admit speaks to the power of the Game Pass because people will go through that, right? But it's just I just don't like when they limit themselves, right? And by doing that, what they're doing now, I think it's going to help them out a lot, especially on the subscription side. But yeah, that's the one thing because I follow a lot of Korean Xbox gamers, man, and that's the one thing they complain about. It's funny. There's that game that came out, Gungrave. I actually listened to that not in Japanese but in Korean. I'll do the subtitles and then the actual voice. I'll do it in Korean because I watch a lot of K dramas. I like K dramas, right? And if you listen to it, man, the voicing on there is awesome. It's a whole nother experience. Nothing against the Japanese. Can't stand the English sub stuff, dude. It just sounds horrible. Um, but or dubbed. That sounds bad. But the Japanese is awesome. But the Korean, dude, I just feel like I'm actually in an interactive Korean drama. But they got to work on that, dude, because they need to start. That's their plan, and I'm not saying I'm not hating on Microsoft or Xbox for doing this. These things take time, but I really would like to see that a little bit more and branching out into Southeast Asia, right? Like they did in Europe, man. Like they did that with the like how they did with I did Xbox, right? How they just started branching out, and you can see them do it. I like to see a little bit more in those other countries. They don't think he should be fired. They want to have a hot take. Yeah, yeah. Well, there are some people, bro. You know who they are, bro. The usual suspects, dude. They never, which is great because it's a reminder that they're trash. I don't watch them anyway. But some of these dudes on the Xbox side, man, the way that they're so weak and easily, dude, they're worse than a Jedi, freaking doing that to a stormtrooper, dude. It's just bad. It's just a bad look. And it's just a bad take. We don't even know for a fact that they'll have microtransactions. Yeah, exactly. And again, for me personally, dude, I don't microtransactions don't bother me, especially now. If you do something, if you put in microtransactions, right, and I don't like it, you just gave me a good excuse to go play something else because I'm so strapped for time when it comes to gaming. I spent a lot of time on Redfall, dude. I got a lot of stuff going on with my kids, so basically, like all my free time, um, when I wasn't doing stuff with my kids because of school and stuff like that, dude, I was just on Redfall. And you have to spend time in it, man. The longer I played it, the more I began to love it. Right? I mean, it's a solid 7 for me across the board. If they sell skins, so what? Yeah, dude. You know who doesn't cry? Fortnite. You know who else doesn't cry? Overwatch, COD. All these companies, man, they want to make that money, and you have to let the market decide, dude. It's just like I think we're losing. What's that one game that we got? It looked like a cool game, but it's a shooter and it's going offline. I just saw the announcement today. And I thought it was a great shooter. The only thing that I couldn't handle was the control. Like you can tell that was built for PC. And then I never went back. should have tried it because some people told me they got better with the control. Because I mostly played the multiplayer. Crossfire X, that was it. Crossfire X. I mostly play the multiplayer. Yeah, yeah, Doctor. This is what's up. I'd rather have microtransaction and loot boxes, and Starfield is a solo player. Yeah, yeah. That's one of the things that. See, and this is why I don't listen to people, man, because a lot of people, right? It's like realists are saying. There's a lot of hot takes out there, right? Because that's one of the things they were nailing a Halo on, right? And not there's people complaining about the microtransaction, all that kind of stuff. But there's also people complaining about the type of stuff that they were selling, right? That it wasn't good enough. I have no problem with Halo Infinite. The open world game is amazing. The multiplayer, as far as the gameplay, is amazing. It's just that live service. They wanted to take it to a live service game. They needed to become a little bit more correct. If that's their competition, man. Look, dude, you're going against COD, you're going against Fortnite, you're going against Overwatch, you're going against all these other games out there, right, that are doing it. So you have to be at least minimum level. You have to be able to compete with those guys. And to me personally, they didn't have the content for that. That didn't bother me because I'm a Halo dude, man. I was more concerned about some of the stuff that they were adding, how it's going to affect the gameplay, and nothing. Absolutely amazing, dude. It didn't miss a beat. I was experiencing lag, which was the first for me, right? But that speaks to how many people was playing that game. Now the only problem I have now is actually getting into games because I think it's a server thing. Because I live in the middle of the Pacific on a rock, so I can't really fault them for that in a way. Because I know people are playing that game, dude. It's just that they haven't. They just need to do a better job with that, personally. But other than that, dude, that game is fire. I don't care what anybody says. It's traditional Halo mixed with new Halo, right? Giving the fans and new people what they wanted to. But then you see how many people was playing that game in the beginning. They tried to hate that game out of existence, but it wasn't working. But it's ultimately what ended up happening was just the offerings, because they did pick up a lot of people that are into that type of gaming, live service gaming. And if you can't give the people what they want, they'll leave. And that's fair. Oh yeah, the realist Forza Motorsport 7 got bad scores over non-existent microtransactions. Yep, that's how they do it, man. They hold Microsoft to a ridiculous standard. I just downloaded what I'm playing. I bought the card and I have my old HHD on my Series S. I'm fine. Oh, cool, bro. Like I have a lot of external hard drives, right, that I use. I'm actually gonna buy an 18 gigabyte when it goes on sale again. If it drops below 250, I'll go buy one. And the only reason I want to do that is because I want to take every single one of my games in my library and keep it on one single external hard drive, so I can switch it out whenever I want to and have it as backup. I keep all my receipts, dude, that I buy digital. I got everything. I have a folder that has everything, right? Yeah, dude. Historical K dramas are the bomb, dude. K dramas have come a long way, dude. I've been watching them for over 2 decades. So, and when I first started, dude, they had some really good ones, but now they're in a whole nother level. All it is they just taken what we used to do back in the day, and just made it their own. It's hard for me to watch anything we produce here in the U.S. on the West, man, because it's so tainted with pop culture, politics and stuff like that, dude. I just want to enjoy and be entertained, and that's what K dramas do. And they have people that say it's formulaic, but I mean they know their audience, right? And they know their brand, and they're branching out, dude. They're doing a lot of different things. I just watched The Glory. It's on Netflix. If you have Netflix, there, I highly recommend. If you watch K dramas, to watch that one. It's probably one of the most edgy ones that they've done. Right? South Korea is a very conservative country, and it shows in the way that they entertain. It's funny to me, man, because a lot of their music and movies and stuff like that. I'm not saying that they're naive. Don't get me wrong, but a lot of their stuff that's produced as an entertainment value. So like you'll see like some of their groups and stuff like that who do hip hop and dance. They do all this kind of stuff, and some of it might come out as some people might say, "Oh, that's kind of provocative." But then when you see them on shows and stuff like that, it's a very business run, organized type of entertainment industry, like Hollywood was back in the days in the 40s and 50s. Right? It's very manufactured, and I don't mean that in a bad way, right? And they've hit their stride. It's kind of like what Japan did with gaming, man, and with electronics, and with their toy market, man. Back in the day, they would make these things, and they have the quality to do it. And they would take that a lot of the stuff that they would get from the West, and then but they would take that and make it their own. That's why JRPG stands for me, they stand at least at a higher level, right, beyond most people, because they just didn't take our traditional role playing games and our traditional stuff like Dungeons and Dragons, or our lore like from Lord of the Rings and stuff like that. They took all of that, but they actually made it their own, to the point where people identify specifically with JRPGs as being very Japanese. Even though you have to correct a lot of those people and say, no, that's a very Western thing, because it comes from Western folklore. A lot of it, that style is based on Western folklore. Dude, I tell you, dude, go watch. There's a if you like zombie shows, go watch Kingdom on Netflix. It has the historical drama and the zombie stuff, dude. It's awesome. It's an awesome show. Let's see. My kids ask me why there's all the hate on Redfall. She loves it. Yeah, dude. A lot of people. I saw a video that this girl shared on Twitter. She's an influencer, a Twitch player, and she's pretty popular, dude. And she was playing it, having a blast. And that's one thing I like about people like that, right? When you get away from the echo chamber that we occupy on the gaming side, especially on the hardcore side with the game on the console war side. Once you can step away from that, right, and then look at people actually enjoying it, dude, that's what I think it's all about. And what Phil Spencer talks about, right? He's not looking at it as he's looking at it as the whole, not just the pieces. Which I think that's just why he's able to do the things that he does. Right? Because a lot of people like on that kind of funny interview, they were saying all kind of stuff to him. And then I guess IGN came up with one. Somebody shared a clip on Twitter, and they had their latest podcast that they did, and you see Ryan McCaffrey on his soapbox. At least the clip I saw, right, so talking about how the how this is unacceptable and all this crap. I was like, dude, get out of here, bro. Microsoft is a $1 trillion company. Phil Spencer has all this stuff that he's trying to work out right now, right, and doing a damn good job of it. You know, that's why I put Phil Spencer 2024. Dude, a lot of people can't do the stuff that he's done. Man. This dude has been with Microsoft ground on the ground day one, all those years ago. Started off at the bottom, worked his way up to the top. And the most impressive thing is he's a gamer and he knows gaming. Dude, there's no bigger friend to the gamer than you is Phil Spencer right now. This is why they make the decisions that they do, right? So getting back to the AKB interview, man, one of the best things that I wanted to, the thing I wanted to hear from Phil Spencer the most is one of the first things that he said, right? Is when they were questioning him on Arcane and Redfall and the decisions that were made or weren't made. Right? And then, of course, Phil Spencer took responsibility, right, for those people that weren't happy, which I say is a very small portion, right? The rest of them can all pound sand because they don't care and they're just haters. But at least he did that. But then after that, he basically said, like, look, but if you're not in this industry to take risks, then you shouldn't be in this shouldn't be in this entertainment industry at all. And when he said that, I was like, boom. Because to me, as soon as he said that, dude, he didn't do what Jim Ryan did and throw his developers under the bus and his studios under the bus. Phil Spencer took the hit, and then on top of that, he's telling them that we support that. Because that's what they've been talking about again, man. The people that piss me off the most, man, are these Xbox influencers, right? Who are just going with the flow, right? They don't know, dude. They have these channels, man, but they don't know they're not into the root of what Xbox gaming is. They haven't probably watched. Well, I would say that because of the things they say, the videos that they're doing. They've not watched, since 2015 when 2014 when Phil took over. They don't have any of that history, dude, because they don't comment on it at all, right? They just echo talking points in gaming media, and then what the people on the other side say, and then they're weak, right? So they can't handle that fire, man. Look at all this crap that was going on from last week, dude. Just constant hating on Xbox. Dude, the articles, not just in the gaming community, just the media, dude. All the articles coming out. Should Xbox close? What is it? Xbox? They should close their division. They should sell off Xbox. They should become third party, which is rich to me, man. Because even a Pony saying that they could become a third party. I'm like, dude, you guys don't even buy their first party games. How could they become third party if you guys aren't buying the game? And you guys said it's better for them. Kiss my ass, dude. Again, dude, this is all fake virtue signaling BS, right? Because they just want Microsoft gone. So for me on that front, dude, I like that he said that, right? Because it shows that he's going to support Arcane. Because if you played Redfall, and Redfall has issues, definitely, dude. And there's people that talked about him. I'm not going to go ad nauseum into it. In fact, I'll do another video on it. But the one thing I got when I was playing Redfall was I was having a lot of fun. Regardless of all the other stuff that was going on in the game, nothing really took me out of it, dude. They built a world. I was engaged in the world. some of the things stuck out to me, right? But I didn't have a lot of the problems people were talking about. And I'm not saying that they did it. I see that it's mostly on the PC side. So I don't play on PC, I play on my console. So I'm not discounting that. But I didn't have a lot of that stuff. And the stuff that did happen, it didn't take me out of the game, right? The only thing I was doing when I was playing the game, because I play so many open world shooters and looter shooters and stuff like that, right, is I was making comparisons, right? In the way that, like, when you watch your team, right, your team could be having a bad year, but you still watch every game, and then you celebrate the good stuff that they do, right? Maybe your defense is ranked number 22, but you have a Hall of Fame linebacker, right, and he's making plays and leads the league in sacks, right? He plays like the whole game, dude, game after game, right? And then so you admire that about him, right? You look at that and you're like, okay, that's cool. Right? It doesn't throw you off of your team. It doesn't make you like you're not gonna stop being a fan, right? Because you're invested, right? Both emotionally and in the time you put in, and probably the money, man, because you buy all the gear and stuff like that. For me, when I look at Xbox, right, and then supporting Arcane, man, there's a lot of stuff there's a lot of promise with that game. Dude. There's a lot of stuff I see, the prospect of the things that they could be doing. So that's what was happening to me when I was playing the game. Halo needs to let us cut off crossplay. And yeah, that crossplay, man, that's tough, dude. It's probably the first time I felt like there was people cheating in the game. Dude, I don't care how many times I die, as long as I feel it's fair. It's one of the reasons that got me off of Call of Duty, dude. Because it's just like even now, dude, it's just so blatant because there's nothing you can do to stop it. Right. So if you put it on Game Pass, one of the reasons, if I'm being honest, I want to see it in Game Pass. I want to see it in Game Pass so that I don't have to buy the game. And basically just playing the game as it comes out, since Microsoft will own it. It hasn't seemed bad to me, but I'm not playing it for me. Yeah, I have a QLED TV. I mean, it doesn't look bad, right? But like I said, when I'm playing the game, there's just like, for example, right, when you're moving through, E-Rock made this good example. In fact, I felt this way when I first started playing it because of the type of game it is, right? Because people were complaining there's not enough stuff to do. But E-Rock made the comparison to shoot, the Division, right? And so when you go into these houses and you're exploring, that's where I felt like when I looked at the game, right, it's incomplete because there's certain houses that you just can't go into, and it didn't make sense, right? Because you're in these certain areas, and it just messes with the flow. Like if you play Borderlands, if you play a lot of these looter shooters games like that, dude, there's a certain flow to it as you play it, and the longer you play it, the better you get into it, right? So like if I'm going like there's all these buildings and stuff like that, and I look at a building, I was like, okay, since you play it long enough, right, you understand there's probably going to be stuff in there. There's going to be a person here. It's just the way the setup is, and it's not like it's robotic or it's redundant. And then I know that Redfall, right, it switches it up when you go to the game each time, so not everything's the same. But when you go into houses and stuff like that, you sit there and you're like, okay, how come that house is I can't go into these houses, but I can go to that one. Like that kind of stands out. But again, it doesn't take away from me, right? Because at the same time, I'm trying to I'm just trying to get a feel for the game, and then there's stuff that happens. Like I go into one of the houses, and then I got vampires just coming out, and you don't know, right? It's that scare factor, it's that fun factor. And so, but as far as that, I go into a house, so that there's bleach that you can pick up. There's certain items that you can pick up. So I go into certain houses to pick it up. One of the problems with the game is like it doesn't. It's hard to like I'll go by, and then I'll try and pick it up, but then I have to kind of like move my indicator around to get on it, and I think I'm on it, but I'm not picking up. And then it's just difficult. It's taking me way longer than it should because, like I said, in comparison, when you go to Division, I'll just go into a room and bam, 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 bam. I'm just like scrolling across, picking up, right? Because you just want to move on, right? Especially with Division's a little bit more different because you're trying to level up, and trying to get the levels and stuff like that. It's not as hectic as it is in. Um, dude, I can't remember. Dude, I'm so tired, man. I should have got an energy drink before I did this video, bro. My apologies. But when you're playing Redfall, right, it's not as hectic and it's not supposed to be, but still, right, it'd be good if they had that. So that's what I'm talking about. It's the little things like that they could work on, but it's not a deal breaker, and it's definitely doesn't give that game a 4 out of 5. I mean, excuse me, a 4 out of 10. Or people like if the game sucks, it's a 1 or 2. Those people are they dude. They probably don't have Xbox's Game Pass ready to play the game. You can't sit there and tell me, dude, as a person who played it. And I'll be totally honest with you. Yeah, there's issues with the game. But like I said, as I'm going through it, I was like, man, if, in Redfall 2, I'm just using this as an example. When they do Redfall 2, boom, they can actually because they you can tell that this game. You know what I compare it to, dude? I compare Redfall to State of Decay, the first one. Like I played State of Decay, dude. The graphics weren't the best. There's some things, some glitchy stuff and stuff like that. But it was just so you get so engrossed in that world, and I love zombie games anyway. And then you just play in the game, dude. And the game alone, man, it's just fun, right? And then when it came up, of course, with State of Decay 2, right? All the stuff that you saw in one that you hoped they did, they brought a lot of that to two. And I'm pretty sure we're gonna get the same game in three, an even better game in three, right? So it's taking them time. They're building and building and building, and that's what a lot of people don't understand about Redfall, right? That's what Redfall is. Redfall is Arcane's very first foray into the open world looter shooter, right? But still, the sad thing about it is it feels like an Arcane game, and that's what I've been enjoying the most about it, from the characters to the commentary, all of that stuff, dude. It's like if you play what's it called, Deathloop, right? You get that taste of it, dude. If you play other games, you get that taste of it, right? And that's the main thing I love about it, dude. Because then you had these guys saying, "Well, Phil, why didn't you get involved? Why don't you send people over there?" Yeah, why would you, dude? I wouldn't want them to do that, because if you did that, you run the risk of, like, if you got somebody like you got somebody from the Halo team coming over to help them, you run the risk of turning that into Halo, right? You get to This is what happens when you see in movies nowadays where studio execs get involved, right? And they start just mucking everything up instead of just having a writer, a producer, and a director just work on the movie and put the vision that they want out there, right? They do movies by committee now, and that's why these things are all over the place. It doesn't make sense. Like I said, there's problems with Redfall, but I'd rather the game be like this, something that they created that's arcane. That's something that Arcane encompasses their style. That world encompasses an arcane world, instead of Arcane making a looter shooter. It's Arcane making an Arcane game and bringing the looter shooter concept into their game, right? And again, right, they probably bit off a little more than they can chew. But sometimes when you're playing the game, it does feel like if you're at work and then you get a team put together, and then you got a project that you got to do, and there's milestones that you got to hit, right? And you start hitting it, dude, and then the deadline's coming around the corner. Then you start chopping off and doing certain things, focusing on more things than others. Because the more you get into the game, there's a lot of stuff that goes on within the story that you can tell that they flushed that out really well. But then you still go to you still go into a house, man, and you can't pick up the potato chips, right? Stuff like that, right? Um, I mainly see the distant trees. So yeah, yeah, there's that. Yeah, I've experienced some pop in. The thing that I got probably the most of is just that people are stuck, right? Like you see, I went into this one house and the vampires weren't responsive, and one of them was coming to the floor on one of the missions I was trying to do, which worked out great. I'm not gonna lie, it worked out great for me, right? Because I didn't get mobbed. The AI is all over the place, and I'm not saying that it's bad, but it just to be more consistent. They need to work on it, because in some levels you're getting challenged, in other levels not so much. Um, and then if you go into any vampire nest, at least from my experience, I just get mobbed. You're gonna die, and I'm pretty high with my character. Like I've gotten her stuff like marked up, but dude, you're just gonna get mobbed. And if you do well, like I did, I got my character to the level where I could go in and take on that first group of vampires, and then when I got out of the game. I came in the next day. There's new nests. I went back into a nest, dude, and I just got destroyed. I got killed. So sorry, I didn't mean to get off the topic with Redfall. Like I said, I wanted to do another video on that. Um, but the reason I brought that up is because I like what Phil Spencer said, and that's one of the very first things that he said, and basically solidifying that he's going to support Arcane, which was talked about earlier today on social media, right? Because Arcane basically, they're showing that Arcane is growing, right? They're making it bigger, right? And they're probably doubling down for whatever corrections they're going to make with Redfall, but when they actually do the sequel to it, right? Because that game has unlimited potential, dude. I've been having so much fun in it. Sure, I was hyped up for it. I hyped myself up. That was probably pretty bad. Not that I was disappointed in the game, but when I started playing the game in the beginning, it didn't meet that hype that I had, right? And then I just had to take it for what it is, which is fine, right? I'm enjoying the game, but there's some things like I was expecting from the game, just from the very videos alone, because the videos and stuff was awesome that they were showing. So like what you saw in those videos that they were doing, the launch trailer, all of that stuff, the build up to it, is the idea and the premise of the game, which didn't really come into full fruition, at least for me. But again, that doesn't make the game bad, right? It just didn't meet my level of expectation. The great thing about that is that they can get to that level of expectation, and I expect them to. And like I said, that I played the game, and I'm in the second area. Some of that stuff I'm seeing it now, right? Because I want the one thing I love about Redfall as opposed to other games, the thing I'll compare it to, and I talked about this before the game launch. I could see a lot of potential with the game as far as marketing, um, as moving forward, right? Like how Halo is synonymous with Xbox, Redfall can be that very thing, and it can appeal to the mass market outside of gaming, right? Me and Heba talked about this, right? You could actually do collectible figures, merchandising outside of the gaming industry, like Microsoft's been trying to do, and you can reach a lot of that. But in order for them to do that, man, that character development needs to be better within the game. I'm not saying it's bad, right? But I want these things. I want these characters to pop more, right? What I saw in the video, especially like when they first announced it, Phil Spencer showed the first video, that dialogue and stuff like that. I know it happens in the game. I see people's videos and stuff like that. I'm at a point in the game where I see it happening more, but I really would like that to pop more because you got to make people fall in love with the character. You gotta make it like how Overwatch became popular, right? So my daughter, dude, she didn't play any shooters before Overwatch. And what ended up happening, she ended up playing Overwatch, and it had nothing to do with being shooters. In fact, she didn't like shooters. She forced herself to play it because of the characters. She loved the art style. She loved the anime style. She ran into all the biographies of all the characters, and that's one of the things with a lot of people that play Overwatch, right? They love the actual characters. This is why you hear all the complaining now because they change characters or they introduce new characters not as good as the original ones, or as most people don't like them. Um, and that's what I like to see Redfall. Not that part, but Redfall actually making the characters bigger than life and making the world bigger than life. Dude, just look at the way it is, dude. The stuff with the water effects, the whole concept behind it, the whole way that they built the world. Dude, that's something that, I mean, if they could get it on them, I know I keep on comparing it to other games, man, but like the Borderlands, right? Borderlands stands out because of its style, right? It's a very stylized type of art style of the game, dialogue, all of that stuff. Now, I'm not saying that Redfall has to be on that level, but the great thing about Redfall is if they had that pop, dude, it'll be a franchise. It's a franchise. In fact, I still believe it's going to be a franchise. That's how high I'm in. State of Decay, first person shooter, Watch Dogs. Oh yeah, FPS, right? Yeah, yeah. State of Decay, dude. That's my jam, dude. There will be two new characters. Yeah, exactly. Exactly, and that's why they keep on building on it, dude. The possibilities that of this game, the world itself, I mean, it can extend beyond Redfall, and they can do that, dude. I mean, after playing the second map, I see that potential there. It's just unfortunate, man. They just didn't have the time. And again, dude, going back, one of the great things I loved about that Phil Spencer interview, dude. Phil Spencer was trying to tell these guys something without basically coming out and telling them, right? And when it comes to supporting their studios, they will support them. Like and that's what irked me the most. Though. Like, oh, like I said, why didn't you get involved now, dude? You can't have too many hands in the cookie jar, man. You can't have too many chefs in the kitchen, dude. You need to let studios do what they need to do, right? And again, I'm glad that a lot of people aren't touching their stuff because that's theirs. That's Arcane, dude. Arcane has a certain type of way of doing their games, dude. You can't bring in other teams to try and bring. You can bring people in to help them. Maybe they need more help, but they themselves, dude. I'm pretty sure, dude. I'm pretty sure they knew what was going on, dude. But they want to stay true to their vision, dude. And sometimes, dude, you can't look, dude. You can't make omelet without breaking some eggs, and that's just the reality of video games, dude. That's how spoiled people are now, especially gamers nowadays, dude. They complain about MS hindering creative freedom. Yeah, that's what happened years ago, right? People were talking about how crunch and how these big corporations are just coming down and the developers are suffering. Then you have Microsoft coming in doing that, what everybody complained about, actually trying to change the culture in gaming, and then they get hit. Oh, why didn't you get involved? That's why I do. That's why I like what Microsoft is doing. They're listening to people, but they're not listening to people. Right? They're looking at numbers and all that kind of stuff, and that's not the end all be all. but that's a lot more reliable than what all the crap going on in the gaming community. Yeah, there's a natural progression to the level, right? But it just I speaking on the term that it's jarring sometimes. Like it'll knock me out of the gameplay, right? Like there's sometimes I can see what they're trying to do because they do that in other games where you have there's basically the three factions, right? You have the cultists, then you have the what's that, the Black Rock, right? The military industrial complex, a complex in the forms of contractors that are working for big pharma, right? And then you have the vampires themselves. All of them with their different agendas, right? And you're the dude or male or female that's in there trying to work through all of this crap and see what's going on, right? And then you're caught in the crossfire. And sometimes, dude, it works out that way. Sometimes it doesn't. And I think if they had a little bit more consistency there, it would make the game even better. I like how the characters interact. I like how the characters interact. Once the level, once the level. Oh, once you level up, yeah. Or are you talking about with each other? Because I haven't played multiplayer, dude. That's another thing I think they need to implement as soon as possible. Because I play Back for Blood and all these other games. But you can have people on your friend list playing, but you just want to go in and just jump in anytime you want to. Because I live in Hawaii, dude. The odds of me playing with my friends are very, at least the people I know on my friends list, dude, is going to be nil. Because the hour difference is like, you know, bro, you've been on my podcast, brother. You know how it is with me. I'm all in the middle of the ocean. Redfall will evolve like this like State of Decay 2. Yeah. Yeah, that's what I was looking at when I was playing the game. And probably one of the reasons why I wasn't upset at all at the shortcomings of the game. I mean, yeah, and another thing too, man, there was so much hate and there was so much disingenuous crap that when I played it, it actually I was expecting it because of what people were saying. Well, not really, but people were saying the most ridiculous things. And when I played it and it didn't happen, it kind of cushioned maybe that expectation of it being so bad when it wasn't, which was good. The only negative thing, of course, is people believing that and not trying the game. Which again is a great thing about Game Pass. Anybody can try it. Xbox isn't going to kill franchises. Yeah, yeah. Especially with Phil there, dude. And again, not the Sony's ponies guys, not those guys. The Xbox guys blows my mind, right? They just did videos about Microsoft spending 68 billion to AKB, and then the 7 billion they put on Bethesda. Everybody did videos of that, and then this thing comes around. The media runs with it. The ponies throw out false narratives. All this stuff goes on, and these guys wither. You know, I'm like, what do you guys think? What are you guys thinking, dude? Because Microsoft cannot be not involved in gaming. They cannot. And the reason they're buying the entire kit and caboodle, man, is because they don't want to get stuck again like before, working out these deals because it hasn't worked out in their favor. And they get a lot of hate anyway. So what's the point? Yeah, dude, but I like that, dude. They're not, and that's what I like what Phil was saying. Phil put that front and center, man, because there's a lot of people questioning where's this friend, where's this studios games, where's this studios games, where's this studios games. That's why on Twitter, man, I'll just write, hey, just get Game Pass, dude. Get Game Pass to hold you over. Dude, there's hundreds of games to play on there. Right? You could be playing Atomic Heart while you're waiting for the first party titles. That's why Microsoft does what it does. They're giving everybody everything. Once Redfall bounces back, I want to see Blade. Yeah. Yeah, Blade would be a cool game. I don't know though. Well, maybe not, dude. I don't know. It depends on who does it. Check that character out. He's a super cool character too. Baka, LOL. Yeah. Synergy. Okay. Okay. My bad. You level friendships and get bonuses. Yeah, cool. Yeah, and in Redfall, right? Is that what you're talking about, Baka? Using looking for groups isn't too bad. Yeah, yeah, Woken. But just sometimes when I'm playing, right, there's like only maybe one or two people, and they just I have no idea who they are. So I'm kind of iffy about jumping in the game because I think if you jump in, I think in multiplayer it's co-op, right? So if you jump into a co-op game, it's whoever's hosting the game, and I don't think you get any of that stuff. I could be wrong. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure it's like you're not. It's not going to help you progress. It's helping that person, which is fine, right? It's just that I don't really know these people, and I just don't want to be jumping into their game. But yeah, matchmaking. Yeah, just they would just make it easier and par for the course. That's what other games are doing, right? Like it would be better for me, right? Like I can jump in the card right now, right? And it'll expand the base too. Like people, because one of the when I watch people playing multiplayer, dude, it looks like fun. It really does. I'm having fun with the game right now. I can just imagine if you're in a nest and everybody's in there and your character is like just some of the combos you can set up is amazing, dude. I've seen people lifting vampires and cultists and dude just doing all kind of nut stuff. And of course having that support too, right? Because I know some people have like a healing factor. Some people like I'm playing with what's her name, Layla. She kind of has a tank aspect to her. And then like the elevator skill tree that she has, dude. I haven't even unlocked the one skill where you can lift people in the air and it gives you that 70. I think it's 75% damage bonus. But there's no sense in me getting that. I've worked on other things because I'm playing solo. So like I expanded my arsenal more. I did that first, so I could have ammo to take on. So I could just run through the board, not having to stop and get ammo all the time. I use LFG the whole time. Yeah. The more trust you build, you get more dialogue. Oh yeah, that is cool. Like I forgot who was talking about it. I think it was maybe Yura, but he was saying something about like there's a story between Layla and Jacob. It is that goes pretty deep. I don't want to do any spoilers and stuff like that. But yeah, definitely. I'm seeing that now, dude. Which just with the NPC stuff. When I'm in the second map, dude, I went to was it the Maritime Museum, and there's like some dialogue going on between some of the characters. That's pretty. That's pretty good. I was like, oh, okay, yeah. I mean, it's. I wish it was more like that, a lot more deeper and more overall in the game. They got Pirates of the Caribbean. What is that? Who has that, bro? Why not Blade? No, to me, it's just like who's gonna do it, dude. I mean, it's one of my favorite characters. I used to read the old comic books, so I love the first Blade movie with Wesley Snipes. Actually, I like the whole trilogy. I bought it. I have them all. Um, and I like not. It doesn't have to be comic book perfect. I'm not that bad, right? But just like having Wesley Snipes in there, right? He actually owned that title. And then I actually love the Spike. I don't know if you remember Spike TV, man, but they had that series on there. That old boy from Onyx. He played the lead character, dude. He was awesome, dude, and I love the girl that they got to play on that movie too. She was awesome as well. That was a good show, dude. I think it lasted only one season though. I'm just a little bit worried, man, with the way writing is nowadays. I just don't want him to, basically neuter the character, man. Because Blade is a pretty. I'm not saying that it has to be gory and stuff like that, but it's just like the Punisher, dude. Like when Netflix did that Punisher series, that was actually pretty good. And Punisher War Journal is probably my favorite movie. The favorite Punisher movie that they ever did because it's closest to the comic book as possible. Talking about Redfall. Oh, okay, bro. Oh yeah, yeah, dude. I gotta get on. I gotta get on with people, man. I got to. I know they're supposed to be working on an update, right? I think they're supposed to have an update. Man, I hope they do that, man. I hope they do it. Like working on the same matchmaking. That would be so awesome. Jacob used to work for Bellwether. Yeah, yeah. Oh, well, I didn't want to say that. I don't want to spoil it for people, but yeah, that's yeah. Oh yeah, realist. Or I mean, yeah, realist. Sea of Thieves. Yeah, they worked out that deal, right? Yeah, dude, that's awesome, man. No, but dude, people was talking so much trash about Sea of Thieves, man. Look where it is now, dude. It's amazing. And that's what Microsoft learned, dude. Let's be honest, dude. They realized that it's like people can say whatever they want to say, but when they're running their numbers, dude, and people are engaged, that's why that AKB deal, man. That's why it's so dangerous. That's why Phil said what he said. That's why Brad Smith was saying what he's saying, dude. They're not gonna let that go. It's not an integral part. Like I understand what Phil's saying, but that is a game changer. That is a game changer, dude. Because Microsoft experienced that from the 360 to the one. Oh, you want him in Redfall? You think they would work that out, dude? You think they would do that? Sorry, I thought you was talking about like just the Blade on having a game on his own. I'm talking about Blade and Redfall. Yeah, dude, that would be a good collaboration, dude. Everybody else is doing collaborations, dude. If Halo can have cat ears, I hated that. I'm not gonna lie, I really hated that. And then the messed up part is my daughter saw it and she's like, "Oh, Dad!" And she started playing Halo because you bought her cat ears. I was like, "All right, all right, all right, I get it." The sad thing about it was there's a lot of Halo players that was undercover cat ears, man. Because at first, man, people was hunting those dudes and making fun of them, and then it switched real fast. And I knew it too because I was getting destroyed by people with cat ears. I'm like, dude, this isn't like the like how my daughter's coming in, an average player playing. Dude. These are hardcore Halo fans wearing cat ears. I refuse to do that though. I'm hardcore. Yeah, he is. But you heard about the movie being the movie's been delayed. I think it's gonna get shelved, bro. Especially with the money problems Disney's having. Dude, Disney just destroyed that brand. I'm talking about Marvel. It's sad, dude. Phases 1 through 3, they worked so hard, dude. All the hate they were getting in the beginning to work through all that, right? All the impossible stuff not being taken seriously, to become that juggernaut that they did, and to just piss it all away the way that they did is just sad. But yeah, as far as I know, the Marshala Ali is the new Blade dude. He's that movie's been shelved. I wouldn't be surprised if he detaches himself from it. There's some stuff going on over there, man. I love them in dude, Luke Cage. He played the the nightclub owner. Con was it Con? He played Con was Disney. Oh, dude, that was a good dude. That dude was awesome, dude. I used to watch this show called 4400. That's the first time I saw him. Mashallah Ali, dude. Like he. I remember watching that show. I was like, dude, this dude's the man. And then of course, well, I think he won an Academy Award already. That would be wild if they showed up. Yeah, dude, do it, man. I mean, they got some stuff they got to fix first. Let's not get too ahead of ourselves, right? But you know, yeah, they should do that. It would match, dude. It would be totally matched. It would totally match Reform. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, they better be working on many updates. Yeah, they have a lot of stuff they gotta work on, dude. From the really minuscule stuff. I think some of the bigger stuff though is actually what they should do first because it's the easiest to, not the easiest, but there's not as much. At least on the console side. Again, I don't know what the PC side, but at least on the console side, they don't have much. There's some stuff they can fix. There's like maybe two or three big issues. It's all in the little things that they can do, right? And then of course punching up everything that they can. Start doing that, right? Because if I'm being honest, this stuff does look flat. In most of it, right? And then you come across an area where things it just stands out, like that's the way it's supposed to be. But it can be so much more, dude, and it deserves to be so much more. This should be a huge franchise for Microsoft because it's one of those games, kind of like when the 360 was around, and then people got a 360 to play Left 4 Dead, like that type of reach. Like the majority of the people on my friends list, because I love Left 4 Dead and I played Left 4 Dead. The majority of those people played Left 4 Dead and watched Netflix because I'd see them on my list. That's all they did. If they weren't playing Left 4 Dead, they were watching Netflix. And there's that consumer out there, and that's what Redfall still has the potential to be. He wanted more involvement. Yeah, yeah. Can you blame him? But like I said, dude, Disney's doing everything by committee, and now they're getting cheap, which you can tell by the Disney shows. Absolutely horrible quality. I didn't even start it. I didn't even like finish a lot of that stuff. Yeah, Cottonmouth. Thank you, realist. Yeah, and then had our boy from Halo, man. Halo 4, no, Halo 5. Sorry, Spartan Locke, dude. I love that dude. He's a good actor too. When he got picked for Luke Cage, I was like, dude, how could they not? And the story, I think it was Steven the Knight told the story that what happened was he got in the elevator. They were doing the casting calls, and they got into the elevator, and then Mike. Dude, why am I trying to blank out his name, dude? Mike, but the dude who plays Spartan Locke, the actor, he got into the elevator with him, and then Steven and I just looked at him and was like, yeah, okay. He basically won the role. And it was kind of cool in that one episode they did that throwback to the 70s Luke Cage That was cool, dude. I like that. Yeah, dude, he is an Oscar winner. Now Marvel's been able to get a lot of these high profile actors, dude, for various reasons, man. But when you have somebody like him, look, dude, if you're gonna bend over backwards for Brie Larson, right, and Captain Marvel is absolute trash, right? If you're gonna bend over backwards for her, you at least get somebody like Marshala who can actually has the acting chops and the credentials to back him up, back himself up. But yeah, yeah. So it's about an hour, guys. So again, just getting back on track. Um, yeah, I absolutely love that. I absolutely love that interview, man, because Phil Spencer is basically spelling out um, the actual situation that's going on with the gaming industry. The console market is limiting, right? And then you have PlayStation that supposedly dominates the console market and console sales. You can tell me the number one. I don't believe them when they give the numbers, right? Number two, if you look at the software sales, that stuff doesn't match up with it. Because when I'm looking at it, like you have such a large base, and not even 10%, less than 10% is actually playing your own AAA games. That's why I don't buy into that AAA narrative, right? And then to me, this is what Phil Spencer was talking about when he made that comment, right? You can't out console Nintendo and Sony because Nintendo has carved out their little space in the console market, and then Sony has carved out their space in the console market, right? Microsoft has their space, but they don't look at the console market the way these two do, because that's all they can do. To be honest with you, it's basically what I'm saying. Phil Spencer was a it's a nice way of saying that the console market is limited, and some of these people are saying, but because Microsoft is limited because they dominate. It's not about dominating, dude. There's no growth. Why do you think Xbox is doing what they're doing? It blows my mind that these people who are supposed to be analysts, right? They're supposed to be game journalists, and they make these stupid articles. And I'm like, dude, you missed the entire point of what he was trying to say. He's saying that the console market has reached its that's it. Like at some point with technology, you reach a certain point and you can't go anymore, right? You can't that you can't do it. You can go only as far as you can go, right? And that's basically in any industry, right? So you need a disruptor, and that's what Microsoft is doing right now. They're that disruptor. Microsoft is basically taking over what Sega used to do back in the day, right? And again, I say this all the time, is just because Microsoft, though, they have the money to do it, right? So everything that they're doing, dude, is they're the ones expanding gaming. Right. Now the future will determine if that's totally good or totally bad. I see nothing but upside. And I'm not saying this as an Xbox guy. I'm saying this as just as a gamer, dude. I've been doing this for over 40 years, man. If anybody should hate gaming or be grouchy, it shouldn't be the 20-year-old that I argue with on Twitter, dude. It should be me, dude. I'm like in my 50s, man. I just hit 50, bro. I'm old. And I haven't had this much fun in gaming since I first started playing Moon Cresta and Galaxian back in the day, right? When I first started playing games with those games. It was like a whole new world opened up for me, man. It blew my mind, right? And I feel that very same way now with Xbox and Game Pass. I can turn on my Xbox right now if I don't get sucked into Redfall, which I probably will, right? Because I want to finish the second map. But there's like so many games that I can pick and choose. There's so many options that I have, dude. And if something that I don't like, dude, I'm like, oh yeah, good, because then I have like five other games lined up. Yeah, Mike Coulter, thanks, realist. Yeah, dude, like I said, dude, it's been a long day for me, man. I should have drank an energy drink and went to the gym. Mike Coulter, dude, that dude's the man. That dude's the man. I loved him in Halo 5. Dude, he deserved his sequel. Honest Gamer. Yeah, Xbox will be just fine. Thank you, Honest Gamer. Yes, they'll be perfectly fine. Right. That's why I laugh when I see what's going on with this week. Because it's just like clockwork, man. And I love watching the Sony guys, right? Because what was ended up happening? They went back to their old tricks. They're like at the beginning they started making all these lists, right? Like the gloom and doom of Xbox, they started making all these lists. And I seen people sharing clips of their video games that are like 2, 3 years old. I thought that was funny, right? And they just go right down. They just go in this cycle, right? Just their talking points, and it's funny, man, because if you're the console leader and if your system's truly dominated, dude, you know why you wouldn't even have no concern if they believe half the stuff. If they believe 95% of the stuff that they said, dude, they wouldn't even be doing all this stuff, dude, talking all this trash, right? Dude, if you're the industry leader, if there's no threat, man, you just sit there and basically, whatever, right? Because you don't have to. So, honest gamer, 100% agree. Real Xbox fans know. Yeah, dude, that's why it's funny, man. It's funny, dude. And when you see these dudes like expose themselves, these Xbox dudes, these influencers, quote unquote, expose themselves like that, dude, we needed this. I'm not saying it's not a bad situation in a sense, um, but I'm saying like AKB, all this stuff, it needs to happen, dude, because all these people needs to be exposed. Everybody's getting exposed. Gaming media is getting exposed. Ponies already been exposed, but now everybody can see how they really are. Right? They attack PC guys now. Right? If Xbox wasn't here, Nintendo would be on next on their list. Right? And then of course you got all these fake Xbox, the pony bots as we call them, right? At Tech Two, I think that was 100 that came up with that. Yeah, Xbox fans knows what time it is. The ones that bleed green. That's what I rock out with now. Phil is saying that right now because he has to believe it's all about cloud and mobile if you want. Yeah, yeah. They. Look, dude. Look, you don't drop all this kind of money if they don't have a game plan. If they haven't looked at every single aspect. Now, look, nobody has a crystal ball. I'm not saying that. And in a lot of aspects, that's another reason why I don't hate on what Microsoft is doing because they're taking all the risk, right? Because some of this stuff might not work out, right? Some stuff they know, but there's a lot of stuff they don't know because they're treading new ground. I think that's what really pissed off Brad Smith and when he was frustrated and he made the comments that he did, which I'm totally fine with, dude. He didn't say anything outside the ordinary, right? Right? I didn't have any problem with what he said, but the frustration is coming from, dude, because nobody knows. They don't even know when it comes to cloud. Like they're betting a huge amount of time, money, and resources into that, right? And to have a regulatory agency that don't know what the hell they're talking about 99.9% of the time, run by people that have no experience in any type of the industries that they regulate, not just the gaming industry. They make the most stupidest, nonsensical things. We know this because, and we're not even analysts and stuff like that, but we're in gaming at least, dude. We can even see it. Yeah, dude, 40 years, bro. 40 years, man. Ever since I was young. Actually, I would say 45. If I'm being 100, dude, I've been playing games since I was small, dude. And I remember that the first game I played, dude, Moon Cresta, right? It's when I lived in the country on Oahu, dude. And back then, dude, the country in Hawaii was country, right? So there was sugarcane fields and pineapple fields, man. And the smell from the factory, and then you had these big trucks constantly moving across, man. And the only place where you could go where we had a school, and there was a YMCA, right? And that's where we had summer fun and all that kind of stuff. And up on the hill, man, where the YMCA was, there's this dirt path that a lot of us used to ride our bikes. We used to go to the top of that dirt path. On the top of that hill, dude, was a barbershop. It's called Hank's Barbershop. And then we would go there, man, to get our haircut. And then one day we went in there, and old boy had like four sit-down cabinets that you sat at and you played tabletop. Space Invaders, Galaxian 1, Moon Cresta. So you had, wait, no, did you have Pac? No, we didn't have Pac-Man. I forgot the other ones. But I remember Moon Cresta most vividly because that's the one I played. That's the very first video arcade game I played. And it was in a barbershop all the way out in the boonies. That was run by this dude who was a big nerd. And he was cool too, man, because I didn't have money, dude. So what he would do is just open up the cabinet. He would play, then he would open up the cabinet, dude, and that's how I knew from the get-go. You open up the cabinet, you just touch where the quarter falls. You put the quarter in, but it hits that little lever, right? And that's what gives you the credit, right? You hear that sound, and he would just open up the cabinet and just tap, 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 close the cabinet and let us play. He was super cool. Ponies believe in PlayStation more than Sony 4. Yeah, dude. Yeah, dude. You know what they are, dude? It's like the cultists, man. They're like the cultists in Redfall. That's what the PlayStation ponies are, dude. That's what when I play Redfall, dude. That's what I think about. I was like, damn, dude, these dudes are true believers, man. It's just like the ponies. They believe, man. Dude, if the ponies, if they were Christians, man, there'd be like a revival in this country. that's the faith they have, dude. It's unwavering. Flip claims pony bots. Oh, was it Flip? Okay, my bad. So I was listening to 100 show. All right, man. I stand corrected, dude. Because I do want to give due credit because that is perfectly, dude. Everybody's running with that the pony bot. So shout out to Flip Money. Dude, that dude is. I love. It's funny, man. I listen to hundreds, dude. I enjoy just listening to them argue. They just go after each other sometimes. Like on the last podcast I was listening to, and there was 100 and Livewire, and I don't know who the other dude was. I know his voice, but I can't remember his name. And they was talking. I didn't get to the whole podcast yet. So I'm still listening to it. Because what I do, man, is I listen to it. They have me cracking up laughing. I'll rewind it and listen. I'll listen to it. I can't listen to it at work, man. It's one of those podcasts I can't listen to at work because I'll be laughing. Because they say they'll do something off, dude, and you start busting out laughing. And you can't do that in an office. So, yeah, but I'll be like listening to it over and over, man, because they be clowning. Like, those dudes missed their calling, dude. They should have like a skit comedy thing on YouTube. There are some creative combos with the powers and riff on co-op. Okay. All right. Yeah, dude, I want to play. I want to play co-op, man. But if I jump on my thing now, dude, there might be one person that I don't know playing. That's cool, dude. There's layers to that game, and when people are saying that it's trash, like do people even like you know how privileged these people are, man? They're like, yeah, I played 5 minutes, that's all I could handle. I was like, dude, I, like Hundred says, man, just get a bag of nickels or slap yourself. I'm like, and I've been telling that to people on social media that you're not gamers, and this is the kind of stuff that Phil has to deal with, man. That's the sad thing about it, man. To sit there, right, and listen to these people. I don't know how he does it, dude. I'm gonna nominate him for sainthood because I couldn't do it, and I know he has a different personality, but still, dude, to sit there and listen to these people talk about the stupid things, the stupid questions that they were asking him, not even understanding the level of the level that he's at and what he's actually looking at. Like, sure, they you know they opine to him, right? They like respectful in a kind of backhanded kind of way, right? Yeah, I just lost total respect for a lot of people going through all this stuff, dude, because they're horrible. Worse than cultists. Yeah, really. Yeah, dude, they're the worst of the worst, man. That's why I want PlayStation to go just to die. Dude, they're holding us back, and their fan base is horrible. They're toxic, dude. I hate using that word, but it absolutely applies when it comes to Sony fan base. I'm gonna do another playthrough with that one. Yeah, I was gonna do him the vendor, but I think I want to switch over to Jacob because of stuff that I saw. I want to see that bird, dude. I know Dea was talking about she was using Jacob, and then the bird. She says the bird actually freaked her out because he started talking to her, and it's just a voice. And then she said as she's progressed, the bird starts talking to you more. Kind of like what you guys were saying earlier, right? About how it progresses that way. And so I was like, oh, that sounds pretty cool. And I think I just want to do that. So, yeah, and it's in that kind of stuff, dude. So you can tell that the game, like people say, it's incomplete and stuff like that. Yeah, it's incomplete in a sense, but like you see those flashes of brilliance in the game, and you know that if they were allowed to like have a lot more time, like I see people said they should have postponed it. No, postponing it wouldn't have helped. Dude, I mean, if they postponed it, it would have been 3 years, 3 or 4 years to implement. Because you can see what they want to do with the game, dude. This is something like again, State of Decay. It's like State of Decay, dude. State of Decay, you have the first game, then you built on the second game, then you can get the third game. It has to go on levels. You just can't. And again, nobody's giving Arcane enough credit, dude. And I'm not making excuses. People are like, "Well, you're making excuses." No, dude. This is actually the first foray into the genre, into the shooter genre, right? And again, I would prefer the game as it is now, even broken as it like broken that people say. I don't think it's broken, but the game as it is now with all its flaws, I would prefer that now because at its core, it's still an Arcane game. I know some people won't like that, dude. I'm not gonna push back if you think I'm nuts, dude. I can understand. But for me personally, dude, I'm having fun because I feel like I'm in an Arcane game that happens to be a looter shooter. And to me, what they can do is they can bring that looter shooter aspect into more realization in the next game, right? Because there's like so much stuff that they'd have to implement in this first game, and I know that they're going to do patches and fixes, and so it'll be interesting to see how they do that. Um, but the potential is there, dude. The potential is there. Punisher and I came later, but yeah, they were clowning. Oh, what's that realist? The soldiers in the second map are tougher. Yeah, yeah. Makes you wonder if these guys played the game. No, yeah, yeah. So like I remember, I didn't even. To be honest with you, dude, I know that there was a like a what are they called? I forgot the name of the people. But yeah, the those contractors they use. I knew they were talking about them in the game. And then I was on this one level, dude, and these dudes was like tagging me. I was like up on the so what I did was because I'm using Layla, dude, I just used the elevator. So with the cultists, dude, I just used the elevator, go up and tag them from distance with my sniper, right? It's not or I just used to run around the cultists and stuff like that. But then when I jumped up on the roof there, I was getting tagged. I was like, who the heck is hitting me? And then I looked and I was like, oh, who is that? Then I was like, oh, that's a different faction. And I almost died, dude. That's what I almost got. I just hid behind the air conditioning, freaking. But they flank you and everything. Yeah, you're 100% right, Wilkin. Yeah, they're a lot more smarter. And like, dude, when you do get to the second map, dude, you just can't, yeah, willy nilly it. I mean, I haven't, I'm not even, I'm just playing it on normal mode just so I can just get, experience the game. But I'll probably play Midnight the next time because everybody's saying it's more challenging. So I will say, dude, those nests are no joke, man. It's like either they want to force you to play co-op or they want you to just sneak around. But some of that is impossible. I actually found this little, I don't know if it's a glitch in the game or whatever, but there's one of the houses on the map. So if it's a certain layout, they kind of vary it, but it's still basically like 4 or 5 different layouts, right? And so there's this one. If I get on the map, I love it because I run to where the house is, and there's this house that you can go inside that the vampires can't go in. So you can basically lure all the vampires to that house and just shoot them while you're inside because they can't get you. They don't come into you. But then the next day when I played it, there's a house was there. I went and I couldn't unlock it, and I thought maybe I didn't have the key. So I went back out and then I got like a lockpick, and so I went back and they just basically shut it off. You can't go in there at all. So they probably updated it, I guess, where you can't do that anymore. Because that you can make a killing, dude. You just could lure every single vampire there and just take them out, and then take your time with all the other stuff. The bird is like a steak too. Oh yeah, I've seen people like send them out and it starts whacking people, dude. Hey, what's up, Lewis, bro? Yeah, greetings from the UK, brother. Yeah, dude, it's getting hot over there, bro. I see all the gaming news and stuff like that. Yeah, much love for my UK brothers, bro. Always wanted to go to, dude. I grew up on Thames television, man. The whole nine, Blackadder, freaking Benny Hill. I grew up in Florida, dude. So we had a lot of the tourists came from the UK and France. A lot of European tourists. And my uncle, man, he when we were living in Florida, dude, he was a good friend. They had a medieval times there, and then that's one of the ones they had that they brought it brick by brick. They got the bricks from Great Britain, and so what it was is that he knew these people. It's like a typical pub, right? It's called the Fox and Hound. So that's where I got to try like real, like fish and chips, what they really were, and because the people were transplants from the UK, and they were super cool, man. Everybody I met from the UK has been like super cool. Yeah, so welcome, brother. We're just talking about Phil Spencer, and we're kind of going on about Redfall now. It's not incomplete; it's unpolished. Ah, okay, yeah, okay, realist. Yeah, yeah, I'll say that. That's a better way of putting it. The only reason I say incomplete, yeah, it's just because like there's certain things like I said, like when I'm trying to pick up objects and stuff like that, and you can't, but it's there and you should be able to. Like there's certain parts of certain levels where you can't, like you should be able to do that, but it's not. But yeah, I'll go with unpolished. That's a better way of putting it. Because by using incomplete, it sounds like I'm saying that it's broken, and it's not. It's definitely not broken. For me, I've never experienced some of the stuff that people are talking about. So it's my understanding that it's coming from mostly the PC side where things are broken. But the stuff that there's nothing in there that hindered me. So like I played not Hi Fi Rush, but High on Life. I got to a point where I can't progress. For me, that game is broken. I'm at this one level, so I'll try to go back on a save. I'm gonna have to start the game all over again because there's supposed to be this lever that I'm supposed to push, and it looks like it's the lever's there, but it's been activated, and there's nothing else I can do because I went online and looked. I should once I clear this one path, and then I jump this fence, and then the button should right there, and I just push it, and this line comes out. So the line's there, the lever's been pushed, but I can't do anything else. Like to me, that's broken. So yeah, I like that, dude. I'm gonna use that, bro. If you don't mind, unpolished. It's a better way of putting it. Yeah, what up, Lewis? Talking about the show with Onion. Yeah, yeah, dude, he's funny. It's a matter of time the UK gamers and tech companies put TV on blast. Yeah, I believe so, man. Because at the end, that's what it hurts. It's the actual gamers themselves and the consumers. Same thing in the US, dude. With the FTC, you think that lady cares anything about video gamers? No, nope. They're just trying to make political points because that's what politicians do, man. These, it's not like in the back in the day, dude, where somebody was like, it's like called civil service. Dude, this is like careers now, so they got to find ways to matter. And that's a lot with government work too. I can say that I work for the government, so I'm not talking out of my ass. I'm 100% on that because I see it all the time. Um, yeah, dude, but I mean, again, kudos for Phil Spencer for going on there, and that's the confidence he exudes, man. This is why I like Phil, man. Again, Phil Spencer, 2024, dude. I mean, when I look at him, dude, it takes a lot of. Like some people say he went on there to grovel and stuff like that. No, dude. Phil knows what time it is, dude. Phil is in charge of Xbox, the brand, answering directly to Satya Nadella, who's the CEO of Microsoft. Right? He has a one-on-one. He has a hotline directly to Satya. Right? They bought Minecraft. They bought um, Bethesda ZeniMax, dude. They'll get AKB. Right? So this is the thing to me when I'm looking at it. Right? It's just like, dude, he went on there to basically reassure us, which he didn't have to. Second Man did a video on that. You didn't have to go on there and apologize. I'm 100%, dude. I have no problem with it. The only people that have problem is the people that hate Xbox anyway, and all the bandwagon jumpers, dude, and people that want clicks on their channels. The number of videos that people put out, the people I never even heard of, right? And then some people I just wanted to kind of see, and then I watched the video. I'm like, you have no idea what the hell you're talking about. Yeah, but dude, I hope that works out for everybody involved, dude. Because I just see a win-win for everybody, right? Because you saw what Microsoft did with Arcane, where people might not agree on that being hands off, but Activision, dude, this is not their first rodeo. And when you listen to the, I forget what her name is, dude, the Activision, you know, when Brad's, what's his name, Bobby Kotick talked about this, dude. I know people hate him, but he talked about the deal and why Activision was doing it. And it goes beyond the money because they're like, kind of like what Bethesda did, right? You can only do so much, and with Microsoft, they're going to be able to grow. The same reason why we got Psychonauts 2, right? It's because Tim Schafer, Tim Schafer, right? He was talking about that, dude, and he was straight up honest, dude. People was like calling him kind of like you're an indie guy, indie darling, you're a sellout, and he's like, yeah, they wrote me a check because he's basically like, yeah, it takes money to make games. And I love that he said that, man, because that's kind of his shot back to these people. You praise my game. You say it's an artistic thing. It's a masterpiece. It's all this kind of stuff. Well, where's that translating into cash? And Psychonauts is like considered an indie game, dude. It's not even up on that echelon of high price gaming, right? So that's the reality of it, dude. And I love that he said that. So this is what Activision is looking at too. He's like, how can we? He said, how can we use AI? How can we manage that? How's the cloud going to be? Right? They own more than just Call of Duty. Right? They're trying to grow, expand their stuff, and keep and when you under that Microsoft umbrella, right? It's basically like how I said this before. I said it again when Marvel went under Disney, dude. Disney can handle. Um, well, okay, maybe that's a bad example now because they're sucking right now. But when Marvel went under them, dude, they gave them that protection so that Marvel could just focus on the actual phases that they were doing, and like Disney did the heavy lifting, and then Marvel was left to do what they wanted to do. So yeah, I'll be 100% about that. What Phil said. Don't you don't need too many hands in the cookie jar, or too many chefs in the kitchen. Dude, let Arcane be Arcane, just like how the dudes that do State of Decay, right? It took them, you know, took them years, to get the game to where it is, man. And I love State of Decay 2. State of Decay 2 is super fun, man. Some of the stuff they implemented, you can tell they listen to the community. Phil is a true leader and wound up on like crying, Jim crying like a spoiled kid. I can't wait for the show. Yeah, dude. And dude, he threw people on the dude. And you know what, dude? That's why I hate ponies, dude, because they're like totally oblivious to that. They're like trying to destroy Phil Spencer, and I'm like, dude, your boy just threw your own developers under the bus, your own teams, your own studios under the bus, like it was nothing, man. And you guys don't even say a word. That's why these dudes are fake, man. Can't wait till the console just gets destroyed. Phil Spencer got some balls to get interviewed right after Redfall. Yeah, dude, and that's what the guy said too. That other dude, I can't remember what his name is, but I guess he has a background in developing games as well, and he said that, and he basically told the story about how Phil came on after the other thing that was going on, right? He came on there and basically spoke, which like any good leader would do. And like I say, Phil Spencer, the reason why I don't have a problem with that as well, and it's not like I'm not praising Phil Spencer, but I will say this: Phil Spencer knows what time it is, dude. He knows what's really going on. He knows he has the backing. This is why I feel confident in Microsoft. Why everybody's, the sky is falling, and Microsoft's or Xbox is gonna get sold off. It's gonna go third party. It's gonna disappear. Just look at Phil. Did you see him worried about that kind of stuff? No. In fact, that's what he was talking about in the interview, which nobody seems to have picked up on. And what I mean nobody, I'm talking about all the people making the thousands of videos. That Dreamcast guy, that prick. I can't believe his name is Dreamcast guy, dude. That dude needs to change his name. That pisses me off. Every time, the fact that his name is Dreamcast guy pisses me off more than the crap he says. Oh, dude, you're not no Sega dude, man. Take that cap off, change your name. Yeah, dude. So credit to Phil for doing that, but I think he can do that because he has confidence in his vision and what they're trying to do, and he has the backing of Microsoft. Phil knows he has to buy time. Yeah, dude. Yeah, and then some stuff he can't talk about either, right? Microsoft has all these deals and stuff in place, man, and Microsoft will get sued. There's a bunch of people that want to sue Microsoft. They have money, dude. They have to dot their I's and cross their T's, man. That's a reality. And I'm pretty sure if Zinc was here, dude, because Zinc's talked about that. That's kind of cool. I like Zinc on the with the Exile Brothers too. Because Zinc will bring that business perspective in there. Like the same thing with Unlimited, dude. He has a background with the type of job he has. The interview was planned months ago. Yeah, yeah, yeah. He said they said that, and he still went on. Yeah, Phil ain't gonna shy away, dude. He owns up to his stuff. I don't think he needed to, because I ain't having. I mean, I like Redfall. I want to apologize for the game releasing the way that it was. I was like, well, I don't know. I'm having fun with it. I'm not dying, calling it a horrible game, giving it a 4 out of 10. It's like nobody watched the Double Fine documentary. Yeah, nobody does. These people don't watch any of that stuff. The cool thing about him, dude, is he made a lot of Tim, right? He made a lot of like those little shorts. That was funny. Talking about it, dude. He's sarcastic. He's a wise guy, but I love his sense of humor. Um, and he shows, dude, and you can tell when you play his games, it's a labor of love. Right? He loves what he does, and he loves the characters and the things he creates. Again, going back to Arcane, this is why don't unless they ask for the help, or you can see to help them and like how they've helped other studios, right? With little things, like with the things that like if you're a person that's good, like they were talking about like this Starfield, they brought in what id to work on the shooting mechanics, something like that. Okay, yeah, fine. But don't be like, and I know I don't worry about it because I know Phil will not do that. Like you see Phil talking about him, and he's like, "Oh, we're gonna do this thing." But what he means by that, he's just gonna go talk to Arcane. He's like, "Hey, can we help you with anything? Are you guys okay?" You know, if Phil had a problem with them, dude, which he even said that in the Xbox documentary, which I guess these people haven't watched that either, right? He basically said like, "Look, you don't buy a studio to help for them to make you better. You buy a studio to help to for you to make them better, to bring out the best in that." And that's the philosophy he's had. Again, over the last 4 years, been talking about that, which everybody seems to have forgot or didn't hear because they're not Xbox guys like we are. They don't bleed green, dude. Jim has none. Yeah, dude. Dreamcast guy looks like a locust from Gears. Yeah, dude. I see people talking about like, look, man, if you're gonna talk trash about people or you're gonna like, just spew crap, dude, just be prepared. Dude, I talk about my stuff on here, dude. People come at me, I'm like, fine. That's cool, man. I'm putting myself out there. I understand that. But yeah, he's not the best looking guy in the world. There's other things he could be working on instead of making videos, that's for sure. I can imagine Phil just can't wait to prove the media wrong again. Yeah, dude, that's what. Hey, Lewis, man, thanks for saying that, dude. That's the thing that blows my mind because a lot of these dudes have been taking L's nonstop, right? Just constantly taking L's every time. I'm talking the media. I'm talking about the Sony guys, right? Like the last one that really blew my mind was they was talking about how unhappy the teams at Microsoft was, and then they had that showcase and they opened up with all the developers, right? All the studios, right? Because the games that they were going to show, like Hi-Fi Rush and all that stuff. Then they showed them, dude. They all look happy. They're like all that. They're walking through the studio. You can tell like it's brand new. Everything looks awesome, and they're just like smiling and stuff like that. And they actually let them talk about the games. And I was laughing. I was like, dude, every time you guys say something, man, it just comes back and bites you in the ass. And they'll never learn, dude, because that's not their MO. That's not their modus operandi. That's not their MO, man. They just hate and they just want Xbox gone. It's always weird when I see these haters talking nonstop about Xbox. They're always the first to report on any Xbox news. Weird stuff. Yeah, I said that on Twitter, man. When this guy was saying that about Phil Spencer. And I was like, dude, to be honest with you, I hear everything from Phil Spencer from you guys. I hear more about Phil Spencer from them than I do anybody on the Xbox side. Because number one, we have Game Pass and we're playing games. Like I'm doing this video, I'm making a point to do this video because I feel bad I didn't do it last week when I should have. But if I'm not doing this, dude, I got like real world stuff I gotta worry about, and when I'm not doing that, I'm playing my games as much as I can. And when I'm talking real world stuff, man, I'm talking, dude, I got two kids on scholarship. There's programs we gotta do. I gotta work, right? We got a new boss, right? We got new rules. We got all this stuff going on, right? I gotta stay focused on specific things. The great thing about that is when I do have time to game, I'm enjoying it. That's probably why I'm enjoying Redfall a lot too, because it takes me out of my mundane life of doing the same stuff over and over again, and then getting into that world and just enjoying it. They talk about Xbox because they're scared. Yeah, they are. Yep. If they weren't, dude, like I said earlier, dude, if they were truly the beast that they claim to be, dude, they wouldn't say anything, man. It's like if you take the U.S., dude, right? You know, there's a lot of countries. Like I was watching this one documentary. There's this countries talking about like how we, and I'm saying not saying it wrong, dude, like how we project our power and stuff like that. And then a lot of people talk about the U.S. in that terms, right? And then not on negative stuff as well. But then when something goes down, right, we're the ones that show up, and that could be good or bad. Don't get it twisted. But for the most part, right, it's just like if you have that position, dude, you just deal with it, right? Like if you truly believed like your PlayStation was that box, dude, you wouldn't even care. But again, this is how you can tell these guys don't play their games, dude. Because if your games were as good as you say they are, right, you would be playing your games right now, right? A lot of them are one and dones, right? But then I've played games that I loved and went back and replayed them. Why aren't they doing that? Again, these are supposed to be AAA bangers that actually changes the very face of the gaming industry. That's how awesome these games are. And then and the only reason I feel they say that is so they can have like ammunition against Xbox. And I'm pretty sure Xbox looked at it and said it like this. Xbox looked at it and goes, okay, supposedly PlayStation has sold 150 consoles. What is it, 150 million now? It fluctuates all the time. I'll just say 150 million consoles. But their game on day one only sold 3 million copies. Their first party AAA title only sold 3 million copies. Over time, it sells more, but that's after like it gets reduced, right? This is why for the $70 game thing, I think that's wrong. That was a wrong way for them to go. But on the flip side, as a consumer, I could just say, okay, well, you're just not going to get my game day one or my money day one. Your game's not going to get my money day one, and you just wait. That's what the majority of people do. They wait, right? And they might wait for that second drop if they really want to play the game. So that drops, and then eventually, over a couple months, right? You watch Xbox on. Oh, here's the deals for this week on Xbox, right? And it's just like, dude, I watched it one time, right? They had like Lego on there. I'm like, dude, didn't Lego Star Wars just come out? And it's like it was almost like I think it was like 30 or 50% off. I bought it because the game looked cool. I just haven't gotten around to paying it, right? They have nothing to play but social media. Yeah, dude. And dude, like, Lewis, I'd even go so far as saying this. I bet you, if you actually looked at their stuff, that they probably didn't play most of their games. I guarantee you. I just think they do it on there just to console war, just for ammunition for console war. I just can't understand that mindset. I mean, it's games. These guys want nothing more than to see Xbox fail. It's mental illness. Yeah, dude. You're right. 100% Issa, dude. That's all it is. That's all it is. And once the like the guys like us, the guys who like bleed green that see that, dude, we know what time it is. It's everybody else. And once they start to pick up on that, that's why I said earlier I saw this Twitch person. She's pretty popular. I know she's popular. And then she was playing Redfall. I was like she was having a blast playing it. And that's what you need. Once such people start picking up, and I see that more and more on Twitter because they talk so bad about Redfall. They're going in and just expecting the worst, and when they play it, right, they're like, okay, well, this is not bad. In fact, it's fun. I see that a lot now on Twitter, and I'm not talking about Xbox guys, just average people. And I guess it's on my feed because there's people that show up on my feed. I don't know why, but I guess because it's the entirety of the discussion, right? So when stuff pops up and from stuff I share, because I do share people playing. Sony themselves even said, sorry, bro. Sony themselves even said that they don't buy games. Yep, yep. That's what that dude said. That moment of clarity came up. He's probably pissed, right? Because they know the numbers, right? It's just like I made this. I'll use this as an example. I used it before. I use it again because I think it's very apt to what you're saying, Lewis. Is that because I'm a hardcore like comic book guy. So when Comic Con, like to me, Comic Con was his best when it was about comic books, right? That's this is how again I told you guys I'm old, right? But then eventually, right, Hollywood got involved in all this kind of stuff. So Pop Comic Con is actually transferred into Pop Culture Con. They should, in fact, that's what they should. I know they won't change the name because it has such a connection and a connection to San Diego and all this kind of stuff. But actually, Comic Con is now Pop Culture Con. Right? There's people that go there not for the comic books, man, but just for pop culture in general. Right? And so what was happening was Hollywood was actually showing up, right? And the reason why, because people saw that for some of these movies, they were generating buzz, and that buzz would translate over to ticket sales, which would translate over into profit, right? And then on top of that, when you have that hardcore group of people that like your stuff, they're like the Star Wars fans, right? As bad as Disney's doing with Star Wars, I actually like the last season of Mandalorian. Um, as bad as they're doing, dude, they got guys like me that I might not like. I didn't like Obi-Wan. I didn't like the show, but when I was in GameStop and I saw the Fifth Brother, I bought it because I just thought he was a cool character, right? So um, that's the kind of thing I look at, right? It became more. It's it's not what it was supposed to be, right? And so what a lot of those studios did was they noticed that those all the money that they're investing to go there because they were spending some bucks there, dude, to set up all this stuff, all these events, which I thought were cool, right? They would set up events like they had a Walking Dead, they had that maze, they had all this kind of stuff going on, right, to promote their stuff. But what was happening is they found out later on that that wasn't translating to actual dollars. So a lot of people, there was a buzz that was going on there. A lot of people talk about it online. But when the rubber met the road and you had to, they were there to make money, those people didn't show up. And that's the same. That's basically what happened with that dude at Sony. That's the moment of clarity that that guy had. I think that was the president. I want to say the president, or what is Jim Ryan? The president. I think he's the CEO. Right? Yeah, I mean he's Japanese, dude. I know he works for corporate, right? So he had a moment of clarity where he basically said that, because it is frustrating that you do that, and you have this buzz, but it doesn't translate to actual. So that's why, dude. All these people on social media are just full of crap. LOL. I want nothing more than to see Sony fail. They kill Sega. Yep, 100%. I just think they need to fail. I just think they need to disappear because they're holding us back, and their fan base is toxic. Like you can never talk to a Sony guy. A Sony guy will all be that. So that's why they need to That console just needs to be removed. I hope Microsoft does that. It's my thing. I know how Phil is. I know he's magnanimous when he does a lot of this stuff, but hopefully this opened his eyes. Like I saw that happen with Pete Hines, right? Because Bethesda is Bethesda, and they have a fan base and a following. But once they came under Microsoft, dude, and they were getting attacked the way that they were, and I saw Pete Hines do that interview, and you could see like he was kind of dumbfounded. He was trying to be careful, but it threw him off. And that's the first. I did a video called "Baptism by Fire." Well, it's Pete Hines, or "Welcome to the Party." Basically, baptism by fire, because that's the first time I'm pretty sure that he felt that Microsoft hate, because he was on there to talk about the game and some stuff they're going to do, and he was getting all these questions like he worked for Microsoft. I mean, he does technically, but not really. He's still pretty. They're still pretty independent. But there's the look on his face, man. He had no idea that it was that bad, and he learned real quick. Right? You see that a lot with a lot of these Xbox people and the Microsoft people, right? Because they're not used to that, dude. They're not in that circle. They're not in that. They're not in the trenches like we are, right? So hopefully for Phil, man, this is another example, man. This is an eye opener. And I know they've been doing stuff behind the scenes, and you kill them with kindness, but I think, dude, I hope they end them, because they can. Microsoft has that money and that power to do so. Some people are like, oh, you should just hate Sony. Yes, I do. I can't stand it. They've just gotten worse over time. A lot of the stuff that they be talking about, their company, a lot of the stuff that their fans now be talking trash about, like how Microsoft is this or Nintendo's that. Sony did all of that back in the day. That's how they got into the gaming industry. You hear Hebot talk about it all the time. If you guys aren't following Hebot, dude, definitely follow. There's a reason why we call him this, the video game historian. Dude. That dude, Hebot knows all about that stuff. And he has a way better memory than me. I'm getting too old to remember this stuff, dude. Well, I had no idea Pete Hines had that shock. I gotta see the interview. Yeah, dude, I forgot he kind of did it with like this. I don't know who the guy was, right? And it is because of who Bethesda is. But now they're not just Bethesda; they're Microsoft Bethesda. They're Xbox Bethesda. You see the hate that their stuff gets. Like Fallout 76, dude. My daughter plays that. My daughter's actually now she's a Bethesda fan. She has all the trappings of a Bethesda fan. She loves the games but hates it at the same time. She complains so much when she's playing it, but she'll still play it, dude. She'll spend hours playing it, getting lost in the world. Then I hear like a little grunt or like, and she's like complaining to herself too. I'm not even like, I'll just come in the room and she's talking about, why is this? Why did they do that? That makes no sense. And I love it, dude, because you're becoming a gamer. I love that. Getting mad about stuff as a gamer should be. About why can't I put this wall here? I have a flat surface. The walls connect. There's nothing that should be blocking. And she puts it down. There's a gap. And I didn't have the heart to tell her that. Well, that doesn't matter because she's trying to keep out the mutants. And I didn't have the heart to tell her that it doesn't matter because when you go out somewhere, you'll come back. You'll find a way in, right? And then your people that you're trying to help are just going to be complaining and fighting all the time because it's a Bethesda game. But she found out the hard way. But then she still plays it, so she likes it. She complains about it, but yeah, dude. Yeah, Issa. I wish I could. I'll try and find it, dude. I don't know if I can. That was years ago. That's when they first got assimilated into the Borg of Microsoft. I honestly think that ABK has gone rogue and will be the ones to kill Sony after screwing them over 69 billion. There's no coming back from that. Yeah, dude. That amazes me that they would do that. And I know what's the dude named Bobby Kotick said. But come on, dude. we know how Bobby Kotick is, man. I think he was just saying that in front of the camera to play nice, to make sure that the deal went through and it's smooth over. But CMA blocked it anyway. Yeah, dude. I love the I think she's the lawyer, right? Lulu. I can't pronounce her name. Dude, she just spits that all out on social media. Yeah, I can't believe she said all the ponies. I can't believe she was saying that. I'm like, dude, you guys say 10 times as worse. And what she says ain't even bad. She's not lying. I just don't like the way she said it. Yeah. She's awesome, dude. I love her. The media not talking about Sony 60%. Yeah, dude. Yeah. All of that stuff, dude. All of the stuff. How they were forced to make a Game Pass Lite. Right? All of that, dude. Man, what's the focus? Oh, what are you gonna do, Phil? How are you gonna come back from this? And then our favorite Shaggy over at IGN on his soapbox, right? And I don't watch them, dude, but I saw the clip somebody shared on Twitter, so I did click on that dude over there. This is unacceptable. We're tired of waiting. I just wrote on what I forgot what comment I wrote on, but I was like, yeah, dude, just get Game Pass, man. You could be playing Atomic Heart right now. while you're waiting for those AAA bangers, man, you could be playing Atomic Heart. Which they could be, dude. I'm not being there's honesty in that, dude. The only reason I'm not playing Atomic Heart because I got sucked into Redfall. Well, technically, I got sucked into Ni no Kuni too because I love the first Ni no Kuni. I didn't finish that game. I just went ahead and bought it, and then I saw Ni no Kuni 2. I was like, I'll try it out, and I loved it, dude, because it's Ni no Kuni, man, but it's done in a different way. So like you get the best of both worlds. To me, the first one, I love the long drawn out scenes. Because I love anime, guys. I love, and I love Ghibli Studios. So it's a total Ghibli. It's a game, but it's basically like a love letter, right? To that type of storytelling. So like I just was watching every single thing, just sucked up in it. On the second one, it seems to be more action oriented to me. Like I'm just pacing along and stuff like that. I was like, dude, I get the best of both worlds, right? So that kind of sucked me away from Atomic Heart. Meant to go back, then other games came out, and then now I'm playing Redfall. So it's a vicious cycle, man. I know I'm not telling you guys you don't know, especially if you have Game Pass, dude. Game Pass is the real deal. There's always something that you could be playing, right? They're always releasing new content. They get rid of stuff, but they keep things in there for the longest time. I think maybe 8 months is the one, maybe 6 to 8 months on like one title. I remember one title that it was kind of in, it was kind of out, which is fine, dude. I didn't get to play it. That's the only thing. But dude, you can't the value, dude. You can't touch that value. My biggest problem with Game Pass is that I keep hopping from one game. Yeah, dude, it's like a buffet that I never finish anything. No, dude, that's 100, dude. There's really there are some issues with Game Pass, right? But these are problems that people don't complain about, right? It's just like if if you won the lottery, man, and then people will be like, like if you won $1 billion, dude, there'll be somebody out there like, man, the taxes though, which is true. You're gonna lose on taxes, but still you're gonna get whatever 100 million left over, right? I don't bemoan you for groaning about the taxes and stuff like that, but you're not gonna be starving, especially if you if you're not rich, right? Yeah, that's still gonna be a life changer. But yeah, this is the problems that we have. There's stuff like this. Like I talked earlier, like about the storage space, right? For Game Pass, I think that's an issue, man, because a lot of people want to just easily come in and out of stuff, right? And kind of like Netflix, how people just zip through Netflix and find something. If they like it, they don't. When they find it, they watch it. It's like that. And then when you're limited by, the downloading stuff and having to move stuff around, that's probably the worst. One of the problems too. And the other one would be they got so many games, dude. How do you don't want to like them to overlap? That's why I don't really stress out about the AAA titles. I don't. Like I said, I'll just be 100% honest with you guys, dude. I don't look at the AAA titles as the system sellers or as that force in the gaming industry that a lot of other people do. Dude. I just think they're a facet. They're just another genre like JRPGs, like Sims and stuff like that. Some are more popular than others. Don't get me wrong, right? They get the buzz, they draw the attention, but I don't see that in the actual turnover, man. And I think Microsoft didn't see that either. That's why they don't really push on it, right? They're doing it more now because they have a gaming service, right? They have a service where they have to put content. So to me, that's the justification for them buying all the studios, right? If they didn't have Game Pass, there would be no reason for them to do that. Right? Because the majority of people, whether people want to admit or not, the majority of people play third-party games and they play the big third-party games like COD. That's why that COD deal, man. That COD. That's why they fight, dude. I don't care what Pony say. I don't care what Jim Ryan says, dude. I mean, well, actually, Jim Ryan was actually honest, dude. COD is going to change everything once Microsoft gets it. Shaggy isn't a gamer. They complain about games when there are more games than we complain games. Yeah, dude. Yeah. In fact, he said that. Like I saw him on a tweet, like on his tweet thing. Like for some reason, his stuff pops on my thing. Fine, but then he says something like, "Oh, I don't know if I should go and watch like Batman Returns, or one of the classic Batman movies," which is fine, dude. I have no problem with you watching it, but this is I'm like, dude, you could be playing Game Pass right now, right? Instead of and because you're just whining about Redfall and that Xbox has no games, right? So by him saying that, right, obviously that he doesn't play his Game Pass. And then a lot of times he talks about his Switch. Like he talked about Zelda and all this crap, dude. I'm like, dude, how are you on this podcast? Dude, you should cancel the show. Because none of those dudes are Xbox guys. Dustin is not an Xbox guy. Like it cracks me up when people online say, "Yeah, Dustin's shilling for Xbox." I'm like, dude, this dude's a pony. They're all ponies. The only person I won't get pissed off about is the girl. I forgot what her name is. Right, she wears the glasses. She's the shooter expert because at least her credentials are there, right? Like she doesn't pretend to be something she's not, and she's very honest about her opinions, which I can respect. Right, unlike Ryan, like Ryan McCaffrey was on the stupid, his stupid face was on the Xbox. I love the documentary. Dude. I love that documentary. And then he was talking about stuff, and then he's basically what the problem with Xbox is. He's like he talked about Halo and how he played Halo and stuff like that, and which is cool because I love Halo too, right? But just it's just like playing COD or playing Madden and stuff like that. One game doesn't make you a gamer. That can make you a Halo fan, and that's awesome because I'm a Halo fan too. But then on the gaming level, if you just play one game, you're not a gamer. Because now that's the attitude of everybody. No, everybody's a gamer. No, no, nope, nope, they're not. Right? Game Pass should be at like 50 million already if everybody was gamers. No, they should be at 100 million if everybody was gamers. The variety, the quality, and the price, untouchable. Wow, guys, I didn't realize it was 2 hours. I'm so sorry. I'm glad you guys joined me though. I appreciate it. I'm gonna have to go. Um, I'm sorry I'm kind of ending this abruptly, and hopefully for those of you guys tuned in about the Phil Spencer interview. I mean, like I said, just to reiterate, dude, I absolutely loved it. I agree with Sega Man. There's no reason for Phil to apologize at all. The hate on Redfall was totally overblown, and I can speak from that. A lot of people might say I'm an Xbox for saying that. No, I can speak on it because I'm a gamer and I play the game, and I'm very far in the game, and I spent some hours in that game, and it wasn't a trudge. It wasn't a. I didn't have to trudge through it. I didn't. It wasn't a. It wasn't something that I didn't want to do. Right? There was no negative to that. I actually was enjoying myself every time I played it. I probably didn't enjoy myself when I died the first time and realized that they suck away like over 4 to 5 grand out of your out of your um, out of your bank, right? The money that you build up. Now I've increased my character. I've gotten the flow of the game and stuff like that, so I can make up $20,000 real quickly back. But man, those nests, dude, they were killing me, dude. I dropped 20 grand one in like 15 minutes because I was going into the nest trying to clear it out. And there's some stuff I didn't know. I found that one little trick where you could go in the house that helped me. They shut that down. Like I was rushing back. It was like, in fact, there's a part where I was like, well, I shouldn't do the nest because I'm just losing money. I'm not getting the XP from it, right? Because there's a lot of times you won't make it out, dude. Like like a couple of them, you got to be perfect to make it out. Like one time I was almost there, I hit like this little bump, right? And then I got stuck, and then I mean, like just a fraction of a second, dude, and that's all it took for me not to make it to the door. Because even if you make it to the door out, it takes like about a second or two for you to get out. And if you don't make it, dude, you lose. You won't get no XP. Right? It wasn't until later on that I was in one map. I was like, "There's no way I'm gonna make it back," and I saw that they had the crystals there, right, that become active. So I walked over, and started breaking them down, and then I saw that there was stuff in there. I was like, "Okay, well, I might as well get something out of this, right?" So then I was getting money from the guns, right? And then I'll just sell them off, and then so that's why I think I'm like at 140,000 right now, right? And then at one time I broke through one crystal, and there was a door right there, which made perfect sense, man. Because I was like looking at that, because there's no way you can make it back in time. And on this stage, I busted through the crystal, and there was the door was right there. I was like, oh, dude, I'm an idiot. Why didn't I think of that earlier? And that cost me like about 30,000 if I'm being honest with you. So I figured that part out. And of course, I've leveled up my character. I got more stuff. Right? I'm a lot more comfortable with the way the shooting is. I think they could make that a little bit more tighter. But other than that, great game. Right? And so Phil didn't have to apologize for none of it, as we're seeing happening right now, where people are actually playing it for themselves. Yeah, Issa, man, thanks for being here, dude. Realist, thank you for being here. Mr. Kima, appreciate it. Lewis, always happy to have you, bro. Um, I don't know who else is doing a podcast this week. I'm definitely gonna do mine on Friday night. We're gonna do like a marathon. Dude, the guys, dude, you gotta kind of have a thick skin with these dudes, man. But I just find, dude, I take no offense, dude, because I just think they're funny, man. But basically, man, it's called like the Insomniac Podcast, my podcast. I called it the Wrecking Crew, right? And then the joke was, man, was the latest joke was like, if you guys don't know, man, Easter Seals used to have these telethons. Jerry Lewis used to do them, and they would run like a whole weekend. So I was kind of joking about that too. I was like, yeah, it's gonna be like Easter Seals telethon. We'll start on Friday night and end on Monday morning, which I know nobody wants to do, dude. But look, I mean, the way that the podcast again, dude, it's just if people got stuff to say and they want to talk, dude, I want to hear it. It's like the old school Google Hangouts, man, back in the day, which I love. It's the only thing I probably left from Google, but yeah, dude. And so I'll do a podcast this week on Friday, and then I have I'm thinking about doing a Saturday morning cast. I know Sega Man's not doing anything this weekend, so I'll talk to our brother Hebot Man, see if he's feeling okay. Then we'll do that Hebot or He Man cast that I've been wanting to do. I've been wanting to launch a pop culture cast on my channel. There's a lot of us in here, as you can see by what the realist was saying earlier, dude. And I know a lot of you guys are like this too. When it comes to pop culture, man, everybody knows. We all kind of do that cross pollination within pop cultures of comics, movies, music, all that stuff. So I want to do a podcast and have people come on that can talk about that stuff because that's what I really like. I don't really care about, you know, being that big, huge YouTube channel, dude. A lot of the people there are fake anyway. I'd rather keep it organic because this is fun to me. Just talking. I'll do more stuff like this. I'll just call it all in talk, and then just we'll deal with the chat. I'll kind of steal this from Sega Man. Sorry, brother. I'm cockroaching your idea, dude. I love when Sega Man does these things. Dude. Sega Man is awesome. In fact, I'm gonna start doing videos where I do one-on-one talks with these guys. Because there's sometimes we talk about so much stuff in the podcast that I don't get to do that one-on-one connection with a lot of these guys, which I want to do. But yeah, Issa, thanks, bro. Again, thanks, Realist. Thanks, Mr. Kima. Lewis, again, thank you. I don't want to forget anybody. Let me just do it. Wilkins, Honest Gamer, dude. Thank you for showing up, bro. I appreciate it. Wilkins, man, I don't think I've seen you a lot of times, man, but thanks for coming in there. Thanks for sharing um, the things your comments, man, about Redfall, dude, because I didn't know that with the co-op thing, dude. Hopefully, again, they can do that online, where we don't have to do co-op. So that everybody, because I think that'll be a big selling point for the game, on top of all the corrections that we're making. But anyway, Dr. Vaca, thank you. All you guys, I really appreciate you guys coming in. And then, yeah, dude, we're going to do it up on Friday, man, if you guys want to stop by. Can't tell you guys the time. It'll probably be later at night. If you can stop in, totally welcome to do so. But yeah, Xbox Online channel, your host, Sega Forever, we out.